joined by Jim Miller, and the Pioneers fall in their home opener last week to the Shawan Hawks. Shawan comes in number 2 in the North Division of the CIAA, and with the quarterback in Bryce Witt, who was a second team all-conference 2 years ago on a team that went 3-7, which is interesting because usually you don't have second team all-conference quarterbacks come from teams with losing records. But he proved to me this past Saturday why I think they garnered that preseason ranking and why he was so good. Very effective. Jim, I think Shawan is a team that if the Pioneers can win and win a bunch of football games and get in the playoffs, Shawan could potentially be another team that we see down the road as a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, they have a solid team. You said Witt, for 270 plus yards, a couple touchdowns. Their running game was not great. They had one really good run, and otherwise it was just a going back to Shawan. The thing about them was they threw the kitchen sink. They had a wide receiver pass. They had another pass on the 2-point conversion. They were going for it, and they were deep into their playbook, and they paid off. Those were two of the biggest plays in the game.
2 double passes in a game. You don't see that, very often. For must things. They were fortunate, but also I think defensively, that was probably the most busts in a game that Jerry Odom has had in his tenure here at Tusculum. And there was guys that were just wide open. And that's good calls. I think those were things that the offense felt like they could hit for Shawan. The problem was we didn't trust our eyes, we didn't trust the rules a little bit, and especially that overtime touchdown, the very first one that tied it up. I mean, one play, that guy, a whole shot was wide open. There were too many of those, I think. That's the
just can't happen. And the thing you look back on, to me, where things may have kind of not gone in the Pioneers' favor, the momentum might have switched a little bit, was at the end of the second quarter, where 33 seconds left, get a field goal, and now you're up 10. You're feeling, actually, I mean 24-14, and then they come down with no time left, and I don't think they have any timeouts left. They get themselves in the field goal range, and the kicker moves the field goal range. With 47 yards. And at that point, you just kind of felt like, this is kind of a tough way to go into halftime. Then they come out and they pull off the double pass, and all of a sudden it's a tie game. And now they've got the lead on the real run of the day. The Pioneers are playing from behind.
But they got it right. I think troubling to me, number 2, was the fact that we couldn't move the ball in the third and fourth. It's like, what in the world are we doing? Why can't we? What are we doing? And then I go back and look. Number 3, Abdul Wahid, and I believe it was 75-95. The other defense are 45. Those 2 guys are probably guys we may not see until we see Newberry next week, unfortunately, that were as good defensively and just really applied a lot of pressure. Corbin couldn't even go through a progression. He couldn't even get through one, nor find his top read. They blitzed a lot, especially in the second half, and I just don't think we handled that.
No, Corbin was up well over 100 yards early in the third quarter, and he finished at 93 because he didn't have time to throw. And they really brought the house in the second half. And you said it about the play of Abdul Wahid. He was a difference maker. He was out there. He was in the backfield the whole second half. He finished with a couple of sacks. But the thing that was crazy about it was that they couldn't move the ball at all. And then you go 12 plays, 80 yards, and a 2-minute drill, and you get the touchdown. It's just like, just play like this for the entire second half, and you would have been in a different situation. The thing that I found is we had 3 different players taking snaps under center on Saturday. Corbin, and then Bryce Moore came in at the end, ran the goal line offense, and we had one play with Trey Simmons, and it didn't work out too well. But there's
falls double overtime. Seems like Jerry Oderman's coming to Tusculum, and every year he's got some kind of a crazy overtime game that has gone on for sure. We open up conference play. We open up the start of our defense of the spring conference championship, and one of the teams that we did get the opportunity to play out of our conference this past spring was Limestone. And we open up with Limestone for the fourth time to open up South Atlantic Conference play as well. So Brian Noller, the sophomore quarterback, Sequoia Pack, the all-world running back, back at Pioneer Field today. And Jim, you know, for Limestone, unfortunately for them, St. Aug's called and said, hey, we can't come to your Hall of Fame celebration. They kind of ruined that kind of party, even though they did still have the banquet later on that evening. So they didn't get a chance to play last week, and their only other game was North Greenville. And we know how they can be. And Jerry, Coach Odenfield, said, you know, Limestone really didn't play as good as he could do, tackle as well. And he thinks that they did, and could have been, which was different. So good challenge for us today with Brian Miller at quarterback for the Saints.
Yeah, it was a team that, you know, I think it really helps that they were able to see them in the spring. There's going to be a little bit of familiarity there. That game last year, of course, I don't know how much you can take out of that as a customer, because the guys who really made that game what it was are down the road now. But nevertheless, you got that experience. There was some guy, Arm had a big game last year against them. 7 catches in that year ago, and it was a contest where everything went right. And once again, you know, you got a back. Limestone has a back in the backfield. He's very good, but didn't do much against Pioneers last season. The question is, what are we going to see?
Yeah, and you've already said it. That defense, our defensive line is played very good. So you can hem him in, not let him get catches out of the backfield. That'll be good. All right, the elephant in the room. Ivan Corbin. This is where he started his collegiate career at Limestone. You know, he started 15 games, 17 good game career, and then he signed into the Southern athlete. Finish out that now as a graduate here at Tusculum. So again, chance to play. You know, his old team. I'm not sure how many guys are still there. Sequoia Pack is one. I can tell you that because they defeated Jerry in overtime their first year, and Ivan was the quarterback for that one. So, you know, is he going to be more amped up? Coach Oder says he's the kind of guy who really got to be. So maybe a little bit too amped up for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation with facing those guys. You know, Patton's put up some numbers. You know, but that was 2 schools ago. That was 7 years ago. There may be that feeling, and there may not be. So, you know, it's still gonna be interesting to see guys across the way play with. But I think that's something that can put that aside and not worry about it. You know, we mentioned Patton. You know, he's run for 100 yards against Pioneers twice in his career, but last year in the spring, there was nothing there. He had nothing, and that was a great defensive performance by the Pioneers that season.
25 yards.
Yeah, he ran for 18. So his first 2. This is the 5th time. We talk about Patton being one of those guys that he's been there forever. This is his 5th season. Seriously. So he ran for 100 yards his first 2 games, but his next 2 games he ran for about 25 yards. So what are we going to see?
Hopefully that defensive line plays really, really good. And Ivan Corbin remembering that he is a Pioneer and not throwing to the Saints. That's another thing that's been kind of grabbing me. So we'll see if that all works out for Tusculum. We'll talk a little bit more about this game with Jim. We're going to talk about that in our keys to the game. We're also going to come back and we're going to talk about what's going on in the South Atlantic Conference and what's happening today. That's all when we come back with more. When we do that, we're going to go and recap last week and go inside the numbers. That's when the Pioneer Kickoff Show continues. Tusculum versus Limestone here on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Gateway.
We are in Granger County, Tennessee, here at Pierce Farms, and the Pierce family has been working with Ingalls for over 30 years. It means a great deal supplying produce as a local farmer. It really touches base knowing that we're just simple people just trying to help, and we love what we do, and Ingalls is a huge part of helping us do it. Farming is who we are, and it's in our blood. God has really blessed us with the sun and the soil to grow the best tomatoes you'll find anywhere. I believe it's really in the soil. So if you're in Granger County and you farm tomatoes, then you're in. Just a great blessing on us to actually farm and be able to farm and to supply tomatoes to people. And Ingalls really cares about family farms like Pierce Farms, and they really care about their customers. We're just glad to be a part of that. God has blessed us with a really great partnership there. They make fresh local produce have real meaning for lots of people. I'm Shane Pierce, and this is my Ingalls story.
Tusculum University is Tennessee's first university. Established in 1794, Tusculum's beautiful campus is nestled in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Students from 31 states and 15 countries have found a home here. With nearly 60 areas of study, Tusculum can help you pioneer your path to success. Visit www.tusculum.edu or call 423-636-7300 to discover the pioneer experience.
We knew going in was going to be a good player. He was the second-team all-conference quarterback years ago. He threw for 274 yards, accounted for 3 touchdowns, leading the Hawks to a thrilling come-from-behind 46-38 double overtime win against the Pioneers. Now, they won in overtime as well against Mars Hill, so now 2-0 against the league. The Hawks actually outgained the Pioneers, 460-352 in total yardage, 240-126 in the third and fourth quarters alone. Second half surge where the Hawks helped them. They overcame a pair of first-half double-digit deficits as well. The Pioneers 29-14 in the fourth quarter and 2 overtime periods combined. Yeah, they outscored them in that period, 29-14. Tusculum led 21-7, they led 24-14. But Shawan captured some momentum right at the half when McNamee knocked in a 47-yard field goal. So that seemed to propel them to that win. Pioneers just could not overcome some lapses, I think, in the offense and a very good defense up front. Abdul Wahid was a force for Shawan up front. So a little bit of an issue there for the Pioneers to try to overcome. Weren't able to do it. They fall last week 46-38 into overtime. We talked with Coach Odom about that as well, and what his team may have learned about that going forward.
Oh, we got to do the little things right. I mean, obviously, I think defensively we didn't play well enough to win, but they did a good job, good scheme, and we weren't disciplined enough. We got to be a little more disciplined on double passes and things of that nature. But we fought, and we played really, really hard. I think playing hard, this group's not going to be the question. They're going to play hard. It's just we got to get them doing little things right for us to be as good as we can be. I think offensively, we got to run the football better. We got to establish that. We got to establish the line of scrimmage. Talked all week about, hey, we got to play tougher. We got to be nasty. We got to be physical. So I think those are the things we really got to strive for, and then be solid again on special teams.
Foot 11, we're underway here from Pioneer Field. This pass downfield, looking downfield for Parham, catches it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown Pioneers. Touchdown Justice Parham from Ivan Corbin, covering 35 yards. This will be a direct run for Ivan Corbin, looking for the pylon. He'll tuck it and he'll score it. Touchdown Pioneers. Touchdown Ivan Corbin, moving around big Theobald on that left side and gets into the end zone from 5 yards. What does Jerry Odom dial up defensively? It's an interception at the 35-30, 20, 10, 5, end zone. Touchdown Pioneers. Touchdown Trey Trowick. A 37-yard pick six. Under a minute to play. Moore wants it quickly. He's going to get the ball. He's going to lunge for the end zone. He's going to be in. Touchdown Tusculum. Touchdown Bryce Moore. Touching Pater from a yard. Second down and 3 from the 18. Corbin to pass under pressure. Is lofting it to the back of the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown Pioneers. Touchdown Derek Wright. Mistiming his play was Keyshawn Pickett, and Wright makes the catch, and the Pioneers score the first in the first overtime. They'll hand it off to the running back, Boyd, and he'll get into the end zone. Second effort and into the end zone for Jalen Boyd, the redshirt freshman from Columbia, South Carolina. Shawan celebrates on that far side, knocking off the Tusculum Pioneers. It took 2 overtimes as they knock off the Pioneers by your final score, 46-38. So a look back at Tusculum and Shawan in the 46-38 overtime loss. But we turn the page and turn our attention to Limestone. We'll be seeing their first action in 2 weeks. Last Saturday's home opener, their Hall of Fame game. They had this elaborate deal lined up and ready to go, and then St. Augustine's, like on Wednesday or Thursday, canceled the game. So they did have their Hall of Fame ceremony, but again, kind of unfortunate. They were 1-3 during the COVID abbreviated spring campaign. They defeated UVA Wise, but suffered losses to West Alabama, Tusculum, and Marsville. 2 years ago, Limestone was 3-8. They had victories against Catawba, Pembroke, and Wise. Dustin Noller is back. He played every offensive snap this season for the Saints. He's passed 265 yards in the one game in the season opener with North Greenville. He was 21-38. He played every snap in the spring as well. Cedric Smith is his go-to guy this year. 4 catches, 59 yards. And Jadarius Hector, Joshua Gary, and Caden Keeler have made 3 catches apiece. Now, he didn't play in the opener against North Greenville, but he is listed on the depth chart in the offensive backfield, and that's the 2017 Conference Offensive Freshman of the Year, Jacoya Patton. All-conference second-teamer. He's rushed for a school record 2,600 yards, 20 touchdowns in his 33 games. He's logged back-to-back 100-yard rushing performances against the Pioneers in his first 2 campaigns, but since then, he has run for just about 100 yards total in the last 2 contests. Maybe not even there just yet. So he's got some 40 yards in the last game, and then this past spring, just 25 yards. So Pioneers have done a good job against him from that perspective, but again, they're pretty good. Defensively, Jaden Clayton has 12 tackles, 2.5 for loss. That came against North Greenville, and Zane Boozer has been credited with 7 tackles so far. We take a look at the numbers between these two. Obviously, for Limestone, it's just been 1 game. They were defeated 37-16. They picked up 20 first downs, and they lost to North Greenville. They rushed for 134 yards. They threw for 265. They 399 yards of offense, and had 3 turnovers in that game. They did punt 5 times. North Greenville punted 5 times in the game as well. McAfee led them in rushing with 72 yards rushing. Noller threw for, as mentioned, 265 yards, 55% completion percentage. And again, he's pretty good. Yeah, they are not bad, whatsoever. On third down, they weren't bad either. 36%. Tusculum has to be really good there today. For Tusculum, 48 points a game. They're allowing 30 points after the large overtime loss last week. 51 first downs to the opponent's 29. We have rushed for 204 yards, allowed 90 yards rushing per game, 240 yards through the air, 195 defensively, and we have gained 440 yards of offense through the first 2 games. 285 is what we allow. Just 2 turnovers this season for the Pioneers. None, incidentally, last week. We've been credited with 10 sacks. We've only allowed 4, but all 4 came last week. And we're just 31% on third downs this season. Again, that's a number that Jerry wants to see rise as well. 7 punts, 33-yard average so far through the early part for the young Hunter Trail so far this season. Gamillion leads the team rushing 111 yards. Corbin is number 2 at 104, and Courtney Jackson with 77 yards this season. Ajero, our top receiver, 10 catches for 105 yards. But Justice Parham, 9 catches, 176 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Derek Wright, 6 for 80. And Jahad Russ leading the team in tackles this year with 10 to this point. Raynell Killian, who likely is going to be possibly game time decision today. 9 tackles, number 2 on the team. Craig Watts with 9 tackles as well. And Joaquin Glasgow had 8 tackles along with Nelson Luis, and Trey with 8 tackles as well. So those are just some of the numbers between Tusculum and Limestone. When we come back, we'll go in-depth in the South Atlantic Conference. Welcome back in Jim Miller for that and more as we count down to kickoff. It's Tusculum and Limestone opening up the conference year. This is Pioneer Football on the Pioneer Sports Network.
From the first day, we looked around each other and we said, we gotta go make things happen this year.
It doesn't matter what the score is at the end of the game. You have to go forward.
You have to take the game.
Attacking gets you goals real quick.
Give your best effort every day.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Stouffer with the game-winning goal. The national championship goes to Shippensburg for the third consecutive year.
Valdosta State, Division II national champions.
Tusculum versus Limestone as we kick off the South Atlantic Conference season. Of course, when you look at what is going on, two teams ranked in the country in our league, the 5th-ranked Lenore White Bears and the 16th-ranked Wingate University Bulldogs. They're both in action today and against some very key competition. And when you take a look at the top of the table, Catawba at 2-0. They're supposed to be last in our league. They got a big win last week against Winston-Salem. They'll have another chance to win a game today against Barton, which should be very interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that. Wingate is 2-0. The LR Bears are 1-0. Then a bevy of 1-1 teams. Tusculum, Mars Hill, Newberry, and UVA Wise. And then a couple of 0-1 teams, Carson Newman and Limestone. So Carson Newman had 5 this last week before they started this week. Limestone didn't have a they got a COVID 5 because St. Augustine could not play. East Tennessee State defeated Wise last week. It was Newberry. It was North Greenfield knocking out Newberry last week. It was Wingate defeating Fayetteville State. Catawba beat Winston-Salem State, and the Limestone St. Augustine was canceled. So, Jim, when you look at that, Catawba is a surprise to me, but I see some of the teams that they play. But Winston-Salem, that's maybe a little bit concerning just because it's a good program out of the CIAA. No surprise that Wingate is up there at 2-0, but I think a little surprising for me, Newberry falling last week. I really felt like their defense was going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. But to me, right now, the surprise, Catawba and Newberry, just because one is unbeaten, the other one took a loss to a team that I didn't think they could lose.
Yeah, and we just figured that Newberry was going to be a team that was just going to thrive on its defense. They have 415 yards of offense. North Greenville's quarterback threw for 295 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns, and that's just something you don't expect from them. And Dre Harris did Dre Harris things for Newberry, but it was not enough. And so that's but again, just like Tusculum, they got it out of their system. It's a non-conference game. It's not going to the games that matter are the games that matter.
And that is today. And I think what's interesting about today, it's Catawba. At 2-0, they're going to get the Conference Alliance Bart, so it won't count as a conference game, but it's an alliance game. So you're going to see Chip Hester, the former coach at Catawba, taking on his former team today as the new head coach at Barton. And he's coming back to his old stomping grounds. A very interesting caveat, actually, right there.
Yeah, it's just there's that's love subplots like that. That's a good subplot.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
a big one.
Anytime you get a former coach coming into the old place. But the team I'm interested in seeing is UVA Wise. What are they? They beat Virginia Lynchburg, which is a team they should have, and they got pounded by ETSU, which is a team that they should be pounded by. So where are they? Are they good? Or are they bad? Or are they middle? Well, they're going to play the team that I think is the ultimate, is a mirror image of them, Mars Hill. Mars Hill's team, Tusculum and Mars Hill can relate about losing to Chuan in double overtime, or in overtime, period. And then Mars Hill was another one that took care of Virginia Lynchburg. So that's going to be an interesting matchup because those are two teams that could be hanging around the middle of the pack this season. And we're going to get an idea of where some of these teams really fall. We'll see Carson Newman, because that's a team that hasn't played in 16 days. And when they played, it was ugly. And so now they've got Wingate on the schedule, and then they're on the road for 3. So this is a big game for Carson. And there's always been upsets in that series. The team that you always think should win hasn't always won. There's plenty of times that Carson Newman's been right. Wingate's come in there and knocked them off. So I wouldn't put any of that past that. But that'll be another one that's going to be a very interesting game to see. What happens there. And of course, LR Newman. That is a deep rivalry, and that might be the two best teams in the conference. They might be getting together. They're getting together with
First week of conference play, yeah. And really to go back even on UVA Wise Mars. So remember they played in the spring, and like at halftime said, all right, now we're just going to make it a scrimmage.
Yes.
I think Mars Hill was up big, and they said, let's just do a scrimmage. Now we're just going to do a scrimmage. And Wise comes back and wins that game and says, all right, now we want to make it now it's a real game. And so the two coaches kind of got it. So that'll be kind of interesting. And I just think Lenore Ryan, with all that offense that they got back, it's somewhat of a new coaching staff still for them, and I still think they're trying to find an identity offensively. They're not running a lot of that stuff. But Newberry's so good up front. Can they be more physical? And that really is the game that I'll look at. Carson Newman and Wingate. It's at Mossy Creek, which hasn't been so foggy for most people, of late. It hasn't. Let's just be honest.
Also wide receiver number 14, Justin Hodges.
Kind of see how that goes. It's interesting. I love just kind of looking at the conference, especially really early. So, big conference games. We'll try to keep you up to date with the games that are finishing for us. Barton, Catawba, Wise, Mars Hill, Wingate, and Carson Newman all kicking off and are underway as we speak. And then LR and Newberry kicking off until 6 o'clock tonight. So, opening weekend of conference. When we come back, we have a chance to actually bring you our keys to the game. We're going to do that when we come back right after this. This is Tusculum football. Tusculum versus Limestone. This is Pioneer Football on the Pioneer Sports Network.
We are in Granger County, Tennessee, here at Pierce Farms, and the Pierce family has been working with Ingalls for over 30 years. It means a great deal supplying produce. As a local farmer, it really touches base knowing that we're just simple people just trying to help, and we love what we do, and Ingalls is a huge part of helping us do it. Farming is who we are, and it's in our blood. God has really blessed us with the sun and the soil to grow the best tomatoes you'll find anywhere. I believe it's really in the soil. So if you're in Granger County and you farm tomatoes, then you're in. Just a great blessing on us to actually farm and be able to farm and to supply tomatoes to people. And Ingalls really cares about family farms like Pierce Farms, and they really care about their customers. We're just glad to be a part of that. God has blessed us with a really great partnership there. They make fresh local produce have real meaning for lots of people. I'm Shane Pierce, and this is my Ingalls story.
Now, let's return to the broadcast booth with the voice of the Pioneers, Brian Staden.
Welcome back into the Pioneer Kickoff Show, Tusculum versus Limestone. Pioneers need to get off to a very good start in conference play. Doesn't always happen, but the Pioneers have opened up now 4 years
Long
against
snapper,
Limestone
47,
in those
Ford
season
Williams.
openers. Tusculum's riding a 3-game winning streak, and that includes
Holding
a
on extra points and
spring
field
showdown,
goals,
which
as well as punting, number 97, Austin Kemp.
this past spring, but it was our only home
Returning
game
punts, number 3,
last
Caden
spring,
Peeler.
and it came against the
And returning kickoffs,
Limestone
number
Saints.
31,
Welcome back in, Jim
Anthony
Miller. It's time for our
Jenkins
keys to the
McCall.
game. I think we pat ourselves
And now
on
the
the back.
offensive starters for the Tusculum Pioneers. At left tackle, 69, Andrew Teal.
We need our keys to be
Left
wins.
guard, 59, Mike Pepin.
So those were the things that we had to do right. We
Thomas
didn't
Mahoney.
do right last week.
Right guard, 51, Tremaine
So
Chapman.
this week, I'm going to start with
Right
special
tackle,
teams. And I'll
number
start
74,
with,
Rick
I
Giantoni.
talked about the kickoffs have to
Wide
be
receiver, number 0,
where we
Justice Farr.
can have to be
Wide
deep.
receiver,
We
number
can't
3,
let them
Tyler
field it at the
Aguero.
18, but we can't let guys field the
Wide
ball
receiver,
on the
number
run
5, Derek
at
Wright.
the 18, because if they already
Tight end,
have that
87,
momentum,
Will Schellenbach.
then it's really messing us
At
up
running
because
back, number
we're getting
6,
out of our
Maurice
range,
Gomillion.
or
And starting
getting
at quarterback for the Pioneers, number 1,
My
Ivan
kickoff
Corbin.
return for me this week, it doesn't need to be low and short. It needs to be high and short so that we can get our coverage team down there. I felt like kickoff returns were a big Achilles heel for us against Chevron.
Yeah, if you look at their starting position, they started 2, 36, 36. So they were getting out there. They did not start a drive on a kickoff inside the 20. And they were meanwhile Tusculum starting 10, 20, and 25. And those are 3 yards. Those are just freebies. Now you're turning to a short field. And they took advantage of that, especially in the second half. My special teams key of the game is if you watch the games and you're able to see it on the special teams, usually he lines up on the one wing. Richard Gerville, who's an All-American sprinter, played football about when he was a freshman, and now he's a senior. Yeah, and he's playing this year. And he is a weapon out there. He is like you say, he's an All-American sprinter. He gets down there too fast. How many times has he overrun? And it's not a knock on him because he's getting down there. He's trying to make the play, but he gets down there too quickly. So he just needs to spot the field a second, give everybody a second, and go, and you'll still get down there first. And this time they'll beat the guy and make the play. So my special teams key is to have Richard Gerville just don't run too fast. You're running too fast. Get down there, and I'll tell you what, he has potential. He may be a sprinter, but he is built, and he will lay guys out. And he is looking to lay somebody out. If he gets a chance, he's good.
What is the baseball team that has the guy, the Iceman, that you get spot, you're running in the outfield?
Oh, the Atlanta Braves.
Oh,
Freeze, yeah.
Man, he's like that.
He is.
He needs to spot the field, just a little bit of space, because he almost beats the ball down the field when it's caught. That's how quick he is. All right, so those are a couple of keys. Now, if any of that happens backwards, then it's probably going to be bad news. Defensively, for me today, Nelson Luis last week against Bryce Witt was so effective getting into the backfield. The issue was Bryce was 6'4", 250, and when Nelson would kind of hit him or fall on him or something, Bryce just kind of fought through that. I think that if he gets back there with Noller today, he's not that type of a quarterback. He's good, he's accurate, he gets the ball out on time. But if Nelson can get back there and force him off the spot, force him to be inaccurate, plus lean on him a little bit, maybe hit him a couple of times, we'll see how the youngster does. I think our pressure against the pass from our defensive front, I think, will be a key for me today to help, I think, what will be your defensive key and some of those guys on the back end.
Yes, my defensive key is the continued development of young secondary players. The thing that I think really hurt the Pioneers on last Saturday was when Raynell Killian, who's kind of the leader of that defensive backfield, went out on the first play from scrimmage on defense, and Kamari Lovett, a true freshman, had to step in, and he had an interception. There were a couple plays that he looked like a freshman. And I think that those snaps that he got last week, and the snaps that Trey Traylor got last week, and he had an interception, he had a pick 6 last week. Jonathan Lowe is still a young guy, even though he's got some time under his belt as well. Tycory Brown, he's a young guy as well. There's a lot of young guys on that defensive secondary who were asked to play a lot of plays, a lot of snaps last week. That's experience. They've got experience under their belt now. They've seen things, and I'm sure they've been coached up a little bit differently this week than they were last week. And I think that maybe that experience they built on last week, the growing pains, maybe can turn them into positive this week.
They're athletic. They wouldn't be back there if Jerry didn't think they couldn't make plays. Now you got to trust your eyes. So I think the defensive front can help that situation, and then the back end can help the defensive front situation by coming up with some interceptions this week. All right, so offensively for this Pioneer team, and again, I talked so much about the offensive line. I talked about, being good and doing some things last week. I think that they'll be more physical this week. That's what I'm hoping. But Ivan Corbin has to help out the offense, period, and the offensive line by sticking in the pocket. I think that will help the situation and finding your hot read first. I believe that he's going to be blitzed a lot this week because of what happened last week and where he just took off and would run. Now I think Ivan has to find that open guy. Derek Wright, I think, was probably over 90% of the game last week, and he just couldn't find him. I think you got to find him. I think the hot read has to be found today in order for the Pioneers to be successful, just to keep Limestone from blitzing every single down. So to me, my key is Ivan Corbin, not just playing great, but just picking up that hot read.
Yeah, exactly. And the way he's going to be able to buy some time is to get some help from his offensive line. There were too many holding penalties last week. I think there were four holding penalties last week. 3 of them were receptions, one was declined. And you got to help your quarterback out a little bit. I know that it's easy to want to grab onto somebody and prevent that from happening, but there's ways to cut that down. And they're going to need to just tighten that up a little bit. Too many penalties in general. 11 penalties last week. That's way too many. And if the offensive line can get him even just another second, I think that'll help towards that. Where if he can maybe if he can get past his high read, maybe get started on his progressions, any extra time is going to happen. So I think the offensive line is going to have to regroup a little bit. And hopefully they're able to get themselves to block and get more time.
It'd be interesting. All right, so those are our keys. Obviously, you don't do any of that in right order, then we probably won't win. Since Jim and I have been really, really good about our keys to victory. So we'll see how it goes. We're also going to find out what the team needs to do as a whole, because we're going to hear from Jerry Odom when he comes back. When we come back, actually, we're going to talk with him. Jim, thanks, as always.
My pleasure.
He's Jim Miller. The Pioneers and the Limestone Saints. It's all coming up. Stay with us. The Pioneer Kickoff Show continues after this on the Pioneer Sports Network.
You know that.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to...
Welcome you back into the Pioneer Kickoff Show. Today it's Tusculum and Limestone. So for Pioneer coach Jerry Odom, what do you do for an encore when you won a spring conference championship? Well, you basically try to rebuild after losing a great deal of talent on the field and also from the coaching ranks from a season ago. That's what he's kind of maneuvering through so far through the early start of this season and right into the conference year this year. For Coach Jerry Odom, 5-1 all-time against Limestone, and in Greenville, 3-0, and that one overtime loss in his first year. They're 2-1 in Gaffney. Of course, the first ever meeting between the schools happened in 2015. Tusculum won that one 45-11. Jerry, in his 6th year with the Pioneers, looking to even his overall record at 25-25, but would need a win today, and is 4-1 all-time against Limestone. As far as Limestone is concerned, Brian Turk, he comes in his 4th year, 4-14, and is 0-3 all-time against the Tusculum Pioneers. He's looking to change that so far this year. With Brian Noller at the helm and Ivan Corbin, the former Limestone Saint himself, we'll find out how this goes, and we'll find out how the game may go. Let's get the final word with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. Pioneers open up defense of their spring South Atlantic Conference title, joined by Pioneer coach Jerry Odom, the Pioneers, and the Limestone Saints. Coach, this week Limestone, it's a team that we've got the opportunity to play in the spring, and they decided, they were going to do a lot of the things that we did. They were going to assess the guys that they had. They assess a quarterback. Actually, it's a pretty good little quarterback, going to be good. We're going to talk a little bit about him, but here comes Jacoya Patton in this offense that, anytime you put Patton in there, it's going to be difficult. When you look at the defense and some of the guys that we have missing, what type of a challenge do you face this week?
Oh, it's a huge challenge. I think Coach does a great job over there with his offense. He gives you, like I said earlier, a lot of different looks, compressed looks, wide looks. They're going to try to get you one-on-one with Patton in different, ways. They're going to put you in a bind on how they block a few things, how they handle that kind of stuff. I think the Noller kid's getting better and better. He's a really good player. They got solid receivers. They're a really good offensive football team on that side. So we got to do a great job of understanding what they're trying to do to us, and then making sure we take the things away we can take away, and then make plays when we have the opportunity to, that is presented to us.
Noller last year kind of, as I assessed him, I'm thinking, he's a young kid, but he throws on time and he throws very accurate.
Yep.
And those are things you obviously don't lose. So how do you force him to really be off his spot?
Well, I think, you got to get pressure if you can, different ways, whether it's four-man pressure, blitz pressure, whatever. I think we got to change coverage on him. We can't give him one or two coverages. We got to be able to be multiple in our coverage concepts. I'm sure he'll try to give us some different 3-by-1 and bunch looks, trying to keep us out of certain coverages, which, I hope we got some answers to. We worked some different things this week. So I think it's going to be a challenge, but I've got to do a good job of mixing it up. But we also have to do a good job of, like I said, not giving up silly plays, double passes and screening goes and things of that nature. We got to train our eyes better, and we got to be solid in the back end on defense.
You talk about so much about explosion plays and how you can't give those up. Can obviously change a game. They did that just a little bit. But you can also teach from that moment. Do you sense this week in preparation for this team, even whatever you may throw at the kitchen sink, what type of offense, can you limit what they want to do in explosion plays?
Well, when you got a guy like Patton and they've got a couple of good receivers, you're hoping. For us, it's about playing solid, fundamental football, gapping ourselves out in the running game, being able to tackle, don't miss silly tackles. We missed a couple tackles last week that we could have gotten guys on the ground for at least one explosion play. And then making sure that you understand what they're trying to do to you with their splits, are they a bunch concept, or are they a stack concept? What are they doing with the back end, to the back end, and how are we going to play it? We're going to try to give them multiple looks off of it, so we got to make sure that we're sharp in how we assess those things. And then motions. I think we've worked a million motions this week, just trying to make sure that everybody understands what their jobs are, where their eyes should be trained, so we don't give up something silly.
You're wearing 12 different hats and primarily focusing on the defense. And Kyle Dickey's running this offense. Yep. And I know you're just basically knowing what the offense is doing just in passing with some meetings. How you guys doing good over there? But it's Limestone, and Ivan Corbin started his career there. Mm-hmm. Do you sense him having any more of an amped-up week?
He's had a good week of practice. I really like what they're doing, as far as what we've talked about. And, I think the biggest thing is they've changed their scheme on defense. They're running a lot of mint, which is mint is the 3-4 concept that Saban and all the SEC teams do up front. So you're giving them, some 4 eyes, a 0, another 4-eye, and then you're creating different 4-man fronts. So they've gone much more to a 3-4 concept, and they're playing quarters behind it, but they'll play some a little bit of cover two. They're doing some more on the back end than they had in the past. Some rip lives, it looks like, but mostly quarters and some cover two and some man. But they're doing a good job. Like, really, had they tackled better against North Greenville, I think they'd shut them down a little bit. But that little number 4 from North Greenville is a really good player. And anyway, they present a different challenge than they have in the past. So we got to do a good job up front with that, and then also making sure that we put ourselves in good situations to help Ivan be successful.
It is a week, and they didn't play last week. You've played and had that opportunity, so it's kind of a weird thing. Do you feel, is Coach speak, is there an advantage to playing or not playing, but do you feel as if you are maybe a little bit more well-tuned preparing for this first conference game?
I don't know. I mean, they're healthy. I mean, they gave them a week off to get healthy. They didn't play this second game. It hurt us a little bit in preparation because you basically got one game on defense anyway. You get one game off that 3-4 concept that they're running. I understand a lot of it, and I think some of our other coaches do because that coached against some of this stuff. I used to run it, so I have an understanding of it. But there's so many things you can do out of it. So you gotta understand the preparation out of it. So I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, I think there's positives really to both, having a week off or getting another game in and getting the kinks out.
Another day to get better. What does your team need to do today to be successful?
Well, I mean, on defense, we need to communicate. That's got to be numero uno. We didn't communicate last week. Can't bust. Make them earn their way down the field. Got to contain Patton. Don't give him anything. Off the. They get in the pistol and run outside zone or inside zone, split zone. We got to do a good job with that. One back power. Got to be good on the RPOs. We can't be too fast in there either. Got to be smart on the RPOs, and then handle different motions, shifts, bunches, different things like that we usually do a really good job on. We just happened to give up some silly stuff last week, so we can't do that. We have to make them earn their way down the field. On offense, we got to, like I said, establish the running game. Got to be efficient in the passing game, and just play good, sound, fundamental football. The special teams, we got to do a great job in coverage. Kicks got to be good. We got to do a good job in kickoff, punt return, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I just want to see a solid game. I thought we played really, really hard. If you go back and look, like I said, I think Chawan's got a pretty solid team. I think we just need to play smarter, higher football IQ, and then go out and play the way we can play, and we'll have a good shot.
Tusculum opens up conference play, take on the Limestone Saints. He's Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. Kickoff is coming up. So the final thoughts, the final comments from the head coach himself, Jerry Odom. Today, the Tusculum Pioneers and the Limestone Saints open up South Atlantic Conference play. We welcome you into Pioneer Field. We get you ready for kickoff. It's time for Pioneer football.
If you drive... I hear the anthem.
Or go to nickhershey.com.
To the end zone. Touchdown Pioneers.
Picked off by Javon Forsett at the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
Gregory sends off a missile.
Caught at 35-30, 25-20, 15-10 to the house. Touchdown, Nate Binder. Today will be the 7th meeting between Tusculum and Limestone, with Tusculum leading the series 5 games to 1, including last spring's win, 49-16, here at Pioneer Field on their way to a spring championship. Today's game with Limestone will also have special meaning for Tusculum quarterback Ivan Corbin. During his 17-game career in Gaffney, he had 15 starts and 22 touchdowns. He looks for touchdowns today for the orange and black. It's Tusculum, it's Limestone. Just a freshman. To the 20, to the 10. Forget it. Touchdown, Corey Russell. Yes, sir. Touchdown, Pioneers. Touchdown, Brian Talent. The kick is down. It's blocked. It's blocked. It's blocked. Tusculum has the ball down, and the Pioneers win.
This is John Gregory.
Hello, Pioneer fans. This is Ron Talent. I'm Drill Neesmith, and you're listening to
Pioneer Football on the Pioneer Sports Network.
And now, Pioneer Football, once again, the voice of the Pioneers.
And we welcome you back into Pioneer Field. Today, Tusculum versus Limestone. Bryan State now joined by Joe Bird as the Pioneers get set to open up the South Atlantic Conference play and defense of their spring conference championship. A Pioneer football team today that opens up with Limestone for the 4th time in South Atlantic Conference openers. Tusculum is 2-1 in the previous 3. Today, one common denominator between these two schools, Joe, and it's Ivan Corbin. Corbin, who started his career at Limestone, got the first win against the Tusculum Pioneers in that overtime win when we went down there to Gaffney, and Jacoya Patton reeled off that 35-yard or that 30-yard touchdown run to end that contest. What do you think is going through Ivan Corbin's mind today as he gets ready to take on a team he played for?
It could be one of two things. Depends on how he personally felt about his departure from Limestone.
Yeah.
If it was good, then he's probably all right. Hey boys, let's get over here and have some fun. And I'm going to stick it to these guys. But if he wasn't necessarily happy about it, it's come on, let's get out here. I'm going to stick it to these guys. So, it depends on his personal mindset, really, I think.
And I think everything from his perspective was good. I think it was amicable. And he went to Georgia Southern. He had the opportunity to see some big football played, be very competitive. And now he's finishing out his collegiate career today. But it's interesting. That's that one denominator. Talking with Jerry Odom this week and listening to him during our pregame chat, disappointed that they lost last week, obviously, but I think he felt like Shawan was a pretty decent team as well. Today, when you look at this type of a matchup, what we didn't do well last week, we really need to do well today.
Yeah, and to me, it begins with completing the plays on whenever you've got somebody 3rd and long, get off the field, force them to punt. Too many times last week we saw Shawan convert 3rd downs and then later convert them into points. If you can't do that, then you're going to struggle.
And it was the running game that was so effective, game number 1. It was only Ivan Corbin last week, and I think that has to be a focal point today.
Absolutely. Ivan Corbin is a dual-threat quarterback, but you can't just rely on a dual-threat quarterback. You need a dual-threat offense because if your dual threat is still coming from one person, that makes the other team's defense job half as hard.
Yeah.
But if you have a good quarterback and you have a good running back, multiple running backs, that helps your offense a whole lot.
All right, Jacoya Patton, he's the one. He's been here as long as Jerry Odom has been here. So, here's a guy 6 years in a collegiate career. He gets this extra year. Here's a guy who rushed over 100 yards in the first 2 games against Tusculum. Since then, he has combined for 40 in 2 games, including this past spring. Now, he is a terrific talent. Might be one of the best running backs that we're going to see all season long, but he has obviously got to be a focal point for a defense that's still a bit banged up.
And that's going to think. You've just got to focus, but do your job out there today and try to take care of business.
Raydell Killian, who was injured on the first defensive play of the game last week, is still a question mark for today. That is a big miss. But good news, Jermaine Witherspoon could or should be back, or at least he'll give it a go today for the Pioneers. And those are the 2 guys who are the Ivan Hogans and Jackson Cawthon of the team on defense. They're the quarterbacks now of this team.
Right, and you've got to step up, and we've seen that, time and time again, to think about how well Tusculum played in the spring. Offense did some really great things, but also you really got to look at that defense. So the defense has to start coming around today.
The guys who were responsible for all of the explosiveness last year, or I should say in the spring against Limestone, Rogan Wells, T.J. Jones. almost 700 yards of offense in the spring. Now we got to figure out where to get that today.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do something. And honestly, I mean, if you look at Tusculum's offense last week, honestly, going into the game, if you had told me that the Pioneers had have scored down, one of them came in overtime, but 38 points, that should be enough to win a South Atlantic Conference football game, especially thinking of the defense that the Pioneers had and looking at what Shawan had done in its previous contest.
Yeah.
Different story. That game's over. Now you got to look at Limestone, who did not get to play St. Augustine's last week. Yeah. So are they going to be rested and refreshed coming in here today?
Well, definitely they were here early enough for us to kick off at 1 o'clock. No question about that. We're back with kickoff. We thank our sponsors. Today it's Tusculum, it's Limestone. It's the 7th meeting all time between these two schools. This is Pioneer Football on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Family.
Food's here!
What's it mean to you?
We got lunch.
To us, it means the people you care about, look out for, and yeah, love. Even if you'd never let them hear you say it.
Hey, you're eating hummus?
What's wrong with hummus?
Here at Ingalls, we have everything you need to gather around the table and give each other a hard time. Because that's what families do. Ingalls. All the ingredients for family.
Receive. Our referee today is Jake Rozak, umpire Scotty McCracken. Head linesman is Kenny Grigsby. Lines judge is Mike Owens. Back judge is Richard Guy. Our field judge is Rob Major. Side judge is Justin Stringfield. And those are the guys that are down on the field. Our red hat today is Tyler Herman. We'll be paying attention to him today. Jerry Odom not exceptionally happy with some of the no calls last week. 2 touchdowns, and there were offensive linemen for Shawan at least 8 yards downfield. So we'll see if that'll be a point of emphasis today. It did directly result into 2 touchdowns, which obviously made the difference in that contest last week for the Tusculum Pioneers in their loss to Shawan. So frustration there. So we'll see how the game may or may not be called today. Austin Kemp will be kicking away. It's foot to leather. It's end over end. It's returnable at the 10-yard line and returned by Derek Wright. Wright 20, 25, and up to the 29, maybe the 30-yard line, and that's where the Pioneer offense will start. Joe, interesting. Tusculum wins the toss, and they want the football.
I've never been opposed to that strategy because get the ball early. If you can score early, then you make the other team chase you the rest of the day rather than this whole stuff worried about second half kickoff. Go ahead and assert your dominance in the game.
First down and 10, the Pioneers will have it at the 30-yard line. Corbin averaging 273 total offensive yards per game, 3rd in the conference, 34th in the nation. He's accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing. As he's also gone 31 for 60 and 443 yards passing. He'll line up in the gun. Maurice Gamillion, who was a bit banged up last week, will start in that backfield. He'll spin out of the first tackle attempt and will take it up to about the 32-yard line. There on the stop is going to be Jaden Clayton, a graduate student out of Gaffney, South Carolina, and a Coastal Carolina transfer.
Well, I mean, I think losing Gamillion last week because at one point, he started out really well in that first series.
Yeah.
Then he got banged up, went into the locker room, came back out, but was never back up to the level he was at the start of the game, and that's where Tusculum didn't have the true dual threat last week.
2nd down and 8 from the 32. Corbin to pass, steps up in the pocket, delivers across the middle. This one's tipped up in the air, and it's going to be intercepted. Turnover against the Pioneers, and still on the return is going to be Jawan Dukes. Dukes at the 40, 35, inside the 30, and down to the 28. Off the hands of Ben Schellenbeck, right into the hands of Dukes, and the opening possession for the Pioneers turns into an interception.
No, what you wanted to see here for the Pioneers, not only was it a turnover, it's a turnover with Limestone bringing the ball back all the way to the Tusculum 26 or 27, it looks like.
So good field position for the Limestone Saints, and a guy that we didn't talk about a whole lot in our pregame was Brian Noller. He has taken every snap in the opening game this season for the Saints, and he will be out of the gun to take this snap as well. And last spring, got indoctrinated into the college game. So the freshman will step in, actually the sophomore, and will hand it off on the very first play from scrimmage across the 25 and down to the 20. And on the rush, that'll be Anthony McAfee, the graduate out of Myrtle Beach, and also another Coastal Carolina transfer.
That's one thing about South Carolina. There's so many schools in there. Having somebody that is a transfer is not that hard. They get picked up by these bigger schools, and then after a year or two, will trickle back down to the Limestones, the Newberries, the North Greenvilles, etc.
So Jacoya Patton does not start today. It'll be McAfee, the graduate, again out of Myrtle Beach. So Noller, 21 of 38 with a couple of touchdown tosses in that game against North Greenville. Also a couple of picks, facing a 2nd down and 3 after a gain of 7 to open the first play. And this handoff, McAfee inside the 20 down to the 19, will create 3rd down and about 2 after a gain of about a yard on the play. And that interior, that defensive line, Joe, has been really good for the Pioneers.
I mean, they've got some big guys up there. I mean, and that absolutely starts whenever you look at Waheem Glasgow. 305 pounds. He's a big old piece of strong young man right in there in the middle.
Made that first initial stop. You got Xavier Clements, who's on this left end. And on the right end right now is Nelson Luis, who lines up over there. Ryan McIntyre lines up as the bandit on the left side of the defensive line. 3rd down and 2. This will be Noller. He's going to keep it. He's going to break one tackle in the backfield, but won't get away from John Smith, as Smith will bring him down back at the 20 for a loss of a yard. It was tough for me to tell who got in there initially in the backfield for the Pioneers. It looked as if it may have been Kamari Smith. So now it's 4th down and 3.
I think it was Tycorian Brown was the one who first read the play, come off of his side right here on the near sideline as we were looking about. Read it, held the quarterback up to help Pioneers make the stop.
Limestone will go for it on 4th down and 3. You'll see this a lot in football overall. We're not going to kick. We're just going to go ahead and go for it on 4th down. Pioneers have to be disciplined not to jump off sides. 4th down and 3. The snap comes to Noller. He looks to pass. Got a man open over there, but it's incomplete as Kamari Lovett will dislodge the ball from the receiver, and it will be a turnover on downs, and the Pioneers get a huge defensive stop by the true freshman.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't an incomplete pass. It was a completed pass for a 1st down. It was just Tusculum came through and knocked the ball loose. So great job by that hit there to get the football back to Tusculum.
Kamari Lovett with an interception last week. He is playing for Raynell Killian, who was injured last week. So the defense stands on their head. The turnover by the Pioneers on the opening drive, and a turnover on downs, and the Pioneers get the ball back to the offense. 1st down and 10 at the 20 for Ivan Corbin. And, you know, it's tough that those types of stats go against the quarterback on the interception because it didn't appear to really be his fault off the hands, but it was. And so the interception stands. It's going to be a handoff to Courtney Jackson. His first carry of the game will give him 2 yards, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, I think if you could fault Corbin for anything on that first interception, he threw the ball just a little bit too high. Receiver couldn't get up to it, and that's why it was tipped off his fingers.
And a bit hard. It was a bullet. So Corbin working out of the gun. He's going to step up to the line of scrimmage. They may adjust the play here after looking at the Limestone defense. They've got 3 down linemen. And then on the right side of that defensive line is Chandler Corley, who is standing up. The snap back to Corbin. The handoff. This will be Jackson. He'll try to break contain across the 25 up to the 26-yard line. And he was held up right at the line of scrimmage by Jaden Clayton, who then spins out of that. So here it is, 3rd down for the Pioneers.
3rd down, be about 4. It's a solid pickup here. Good play. The Pioneers can do something. If they just get a similar play to what they had the last one, they're going to get the 1st down.
You know, they weren't great. They haven't been great on 3rd downs. 31% this season for Tusculum. 3rd down and 4 here at their own 26. No score opening quarter. Corbin to pass, steps up in the pocket, looking, fumbling the football. Nope, he's not going to be able to get back up on top of that. I believe Limestone is going to recover this football.
Limestone thinks they have it anyway, and they do.
They come up off the bottom of the pile, 2 turnovers, 2 offensive series. And Ivan Corbin will lose the football, and Limestone will have it at the Pioneer 25.
That was Kendrick Knight for Limestone coming up with that. Another transfer graduate student out of college, Holy Cross.
So there is Corbin with the interception. It's tough to give it to him on that first drive, but then his second fumble of the season, his first was at St. Augustine's, going in for a touchdown, fumbled the football. So now the defense with their backs against the wall once again will come out onto the field against Brian Noller and the Limestone offense, and they'll throw Anthony McAfee back out as the running back. It will not be Jerkoya Patton. Tight end will line up to the left side. That is going to be Juwan Dukes, the junior from Sandersville, Georgia. A lot of graduates and a lot of seniors on this Limestone team. Facing 1st and 10 at the Pioneer 26. Handoff, McAfee to the near side. Got a great block, 20. 15, 10, and takes it inside the 10 down to the 9. On this left end, it looked as if Xavier Clements was held up. You see his shoulder pad is out of his jersey. That's called a hold.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't held up. He was held up and yanked backwards right in front of the referee. And as you say, his shoulder pads are hanging out of his jersey because offensive player had a handful.
So first and goal at the 9-yard line for Limestone, trying to take advantage of the second turnover already of the game for Tusculum on their opening 2 drives. It'll be Noller who will check off to Coach Turk over on the sidelines. Brian Turk in his 4th season, the head coach at Limestone. 10:09 on the clock, in motion, and then movement by Limestone. And I believe there was a little bit of confusion with Terrence Walker, the tight end, this time. He may have hit his offensive lineman, who then took a little bit of a flinch, which caused the 5-yard penalty.
That backs Limestone up. Now first and goal at the 14.
No score. Limestone in business for the second time after a turnover and interception, which got them the ball inside the 30-yard line at Tusculum, and now a turnover, and they take over at the Pioneer 26-yard line, and on the opening play, get 15 yards down to the 9. Here it is, first and goal, though, back at the 14. Noller, play-action pass, looking downfield, got a man wide open, caught it, touchdown, Limestone, touchdown, Terrence Walker. A very similar play to what we saw last week against Shawan.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. Limestone undoubtedly did its homework during this week off, because a couple of the touchdowns the Pioneers gave up against Shawan were just complete busted coverage, and you allow somebody to walk just straight into the end zone. We saw it here today.
So it does, the second turnover, result into 6 for the point. Nathan Baker to attempt the point after out of the hold of Austin Kemp. And the long snapper is Ford Williams. Baker's kick is up, and it's good. We go to a break and a kickoff when we come back. 9:39 to play, opening quarter with your score. Limestone 7, Tusculum 0. Pioneer football continues on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Of the second turnover here of this first half, this first quarter, as Limestone went 1-3 during their COVID abbreviated spring, and they lost to the Pioneers by a final score of 49-17. Tusculum put up 666 yards of offense in that contest as well, and just didn't have a lot of offense going. And right now, Tusculum has really helped them by giving them the short field twice.
Well, you mentioned there a minute ago, you said, talked about the 30-yard line. This entire game has been played almost entirely inside probably at least the 35, if not the 30, down here on the indoor practice facility end. So the Pioneers are going to have to do something and move down the field.
So Austin Kemp will be out to kick it away for the second time already in the game. Tusculum won the toss. They elected to receive. And on the second play from scrimmage, they threw the interception. Tusculum's defense would get a turnover on downs. And then on the second play from that offensive series, actually on 3rd down and 4, Corbin would scramble and lose the football, fumble it, recovered by Limestone, and they would go 3 plays into the end zone. So 7-0 for the Limestone Saints. 38 yards for Limestone, just 8 for the Pioneers. So Kemp to kick it away. Derek Wright is back deep, and Kemp is going to put this one through the uprights. That's good.
I always thought that if you could do that, that ought to be worth like a point or something.
Yeah, I mean, don't they credit you that in the CFL, the Canadian Football League?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It would sort of add an interesting twist to the game.
He put it through the uprights. Wow, that's a good kick.
Yeah.
First and 10 from the 25. Saints leading at 7-0. The Pioneers do have the top scoring offense in the league still, 48 points a game. That's after their very impressive opening day win on the road against St. Augs, where they put up 58 points. They put up 38 in the loss last week. That's 7th in the country, those 48 points a game. They have 0 through their first 2 drives. Play action pass. Ivan Corbin will be complete. Will Sweeper at the 30. The Catawba transfer 35. Face mask here, and then he'll be taken down. So we'll tack on 15 yards. Really, Joe, when the Pioneers had nothing going in the second half against Shawan, it was 2 15-yard penalties that aided our drive to get that tying score.
Yeah, it did. I mean, come late in the game there, Pioneers they couldn't get anything going, and fortunately they did manage to survive to overtime, but we still didn't get the win.
So the official call from Mr. Rozek will be face mask against Limestone, and it should go at the end of the play, and apparently he stepped out of bounds at around the 36-yard line. So they'll add 15 yards to that, and the Pioneers will have the ball at the 49-yard line.
Still not yet across midfield as we're at 9.5 minutes left to go here in the first quarter, but hopefully we can keep this moving now.
A lot on the pressure, I think, today is on that offensive line. Mike Pepin, Andrew Theobald, Thomas Mahoney, Tremaine Chapman, Ben Schellenbach, and others. Handoff here is going to be Maurice Gamillion, and he cannot get free. Flying in from the linebacker spot is Jabez Taylor, freshman out of Gaston, South Carolina. It'll be a loss of a half yard. It's second down and long.
Yeah, not what the Pioneers needed. You got a good pass play there, then tacked on the penalty, and then the very next play you go backwards.
Pioneer football team, a 49-17 win last year. Talked about all of the yards, and the passing was 519 yards for Rogan Wells. And Justice Parham had his breakout game. He's not out there right now. It's that second unit of the wide receivers. This will be Schellenbach, and he is hit in the helmet as he tries to make the catch. He was targeted as a defenseless receiver, and it will be incomplete. So it's third down and about 10 and a half.
Yeah, he was hit right directly in the helmet that caused that ball to jar loose. That's unfortunate for the Pioneers.
The rule's in place for a reason. But that time the pass by Corbin led Schellenbach directly into the defender. So basically it was just zone defense, and the corner let Sweeper go. See if something else happens here. Pioneers will empty the backfield. 3 down lineman, blitz comes late. It'll be a receiver screen. It'll be complete. Complete to Jackson Boone, and he does cross midfield. He'll take it down to the Limestone 46, where it'll be 4th down and 5 at that point. And here comes Andrew Cantrell, the Pioneer Special Teams punt unit.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Pioneers, they did get something going. Not enough after the first 2 bad plays. But now we're going to try to see if we can pin Limestone back all the way deep.
33-yard punt average this season to this point of the year for Andrew Cantrell, who led the punters in the spring. His 37.8 career average, 9th best in school history. Snap is back. It's a good one. Cantrell gets away a very high spiral that will turn over and be fielded inside the 10 at the 7. So getting the job done that time, it was Andrew Cantrell as the punt was fielded by Caden Peeler. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Limestone Saints.
Pioneers didn't manage to get down and put any points on the board, but at least they have flipped the field now on Limestone instead of playing down on Tusculum's defensive final third. They're all of a sudden, now they've got Limestone backed up against their own goal line.
Yeah, where they take snaps from the 27 and then the 26, and they eventually did score from the 26-yard line to get into the end zone after the pass play by Brian Noller to a wide-open tight end in Terrence Walker. So this will be Noller, and he'll work again from the gun. The tight end is Juwan Dukes this time. And we do have our first Jacoya Patton sighting. He's out there right now as Noller will change the play. Play clock down to 1, and he just did get it off. Pass to this near side is going to be complete, and then out of bounds near the 10-yard line. Kamari Lovett with the stop after Caden Peeler makes that tackle. Gain of about 3, second down at 7.
And that's what it worked out. It was a long play for Limestone, but unfortunately for the Saints, it was a long play left and right, and they only got 3 yards out of it.
Good to see Jermaine Witherspoon out there for the Pioneers. He's a big playmaker on defense, injured in the first game on the first play defensively against St. Augustine's. Touchdown maker in motion is Walker. The handoff, Jacoya Patton right up the middle, and he'll get maybe 3, actually about 5 as he sneaks up to about the 15-yard line to make it 3rd down and 2 as Glasgow and Witherspoon combine on the stop. 3rd down manageable for the Saints.
Right now, Pioneer defense would be a great time for tackle for loss and force Newberry Limestone
next
to
week.
punt. Yeah, it's South Carolina.
The next South Carolina school in here. Into the contest, and I love watching this young man play. Yusef Lee just really gets after the defensive end. They actually adjust to his side and bring two tight ends. To the left, Noller comes under center. Straight handoff right up the middle is going to be Patton. He'll have the first down. He takes it up to the 20-yard line and the 21. First and 10 as Limestone will move the chains. And the man who makes the stop, Kamari Lovett, comes up a bit slow, but does come up indeed. Ryan McIntyre will check back in.
That's going to be first down with Limestone moving it up to the 22-yard line. The Pioneers still trying to get a stop.
So Noller comes under center that time, and Patton takes it for the first down. So on first and 10, Noller again from the gun. Handoff again is going to be Patton trying to follow his tight end on the left side, and that time the Pioneer defensive right side just collapsed on Patton, and he'll have maybe 2 or even 3 yards. Second down coming up for Limestone.
They gave him 3 yards, ball spotted right on the 25-yard line.
As we go under 6 minutes to play in this opening quarter, 7-0 Limestone. This drive began inside the 10 at the 7. They have it right now at the 25-yard line. Noller will work from the gun. 2 turnovers for the Pioneers in the opening 2 possessions has given that Limestone this 7-0 lead. With the field position, they took advantage on their second drive. This is Patton again. This handoff, and Nelson Luis will make the stop along with Jihad Russ, the team's leading tackler, up at the 26, so a gain of a yard, and it brings up third down at 6.
Yeah, here we go again. We talked about this during the pregame, and what I said, Pioneers have got to get off the field on third down, so now would be a good time to do that.
And the Pioneer defense so far this season has been good, except for last week on third downs and third down conversions. And Jerry Odom has had to take yet another timeout defensively. You got a young staff. Let's just bring it to where it is. But he took 3 defensive timeouts last week against Shawan and didn't really give his offense time to have any timeouts last week down the stretch. They didn't need it. Obviously, they were able to tie the game up and force it overtime. So the first time out here will give us a chance to tell you this. The Pioneer Football Show live from Applebee's each and every Monday following Pioneer Football Saturdays. Join us from Applebee's on Monday beginning at 7 o'clock as we break down this game and preview Tusculum and Newberry. Of course, when we're at Applebee's, you know you're eating good in the neighborhood, where they've got late-night appetizers and appetizer specials from 3 until 7 late nights. Plus, if you don't have time to visit the restaurant, you can always order to go at applebeestogo.com. Find the Greenville location and then go by and pick it up. Delivery available in some areas here in Greenville. That's the Pioneer Football Show. We're live at Applebee's each and every Monday. And we thank Applebee's for providing our pregame meal today.
Very good.
Third down and 6 for Limestone. Out of the Pioneer timeout. 5:07 on the clock. Noller again out of the gun with Patton, this time on his left shoulder. Did he get the Pioneers to jump? He did, so he's got a free play. He's going down the field, and Jermaine Witherspoon will break up the pass on the intended receiver, Demond Ellison. But the Pioneers jumped, and now instead of 3rd and 6 and a punting or 4th and 6 in a punting situation, it'll be 3rd down and 1 after the offsides.
Yeah, that didn't give up the first down, but it certainly made Limestone's job a whole lot easier.
Noller knew he had a free play, so he went down the field for Ellison, the senior out of Canton, Georgia. Their leading receiver this year has been Cedric Smith, the graduate out of Columbia, South Carolina, in the very first game this season with 4 catches, 59 yards. Hector with 3, Gary with 3. And so you're seeing some guys out there so far in this game. Terrence Walker with the catch, thrown it a couple of times already to Caden Peeler. So 3rd down and a yard for Limestone after the Pioneers jump off sides. Handoff is to Jacoya Patton. Patton will be hit at the line of scrimmage, but he spins out of that and will have enough for a first down.
Just getting enough for the first down for the Saints. So, once again, Limestone moving the chains at Tusculum's expense.
The offsides kills him. The offsides, the holding last week at the end of the first half allowed Shawan 10 more yards, gave them 10 more yards, and it allowed McCatney to hit a 47-yard field goal from the middle of the field. And that really propelled and gave Shawan some added life. So this drive, which began back inside the 7-yard line, with Limestone leading the game 7-0, now they have it out near the 35. 1st and 10 as Noller will come under center. Play action pass. Noller looking down the field. He's going to go deep. He's got a man out there, and he's also got good defense. That is a great job by Ty Corey and Brown. Didn't break up the pass, but he made it difficult for Justin Williams to go up and get it. Incomplete, 2nd and 10.
And great job by Ty Corey and Brown, the way he was able to do that and actually not make contact, avoid the pass interference play, because it a little bit off in his case, and it definitely would have been, but he stayed clear and caused the incompletion.
Running stride for stride with Williams on that play, the junior out of Walterboro, South Carolina. So, 2nd down and 10. And Noller will back up out of the gun this time. McAfee back into the contest as well for the Limestone Saints at running back, and the snap is dropped by Noller. He's trying to make something out of nothing, and he does a great job and just throwing the ball out of bounds, incomplete. And how in the world he was able to locate that ball behind his feet after he dropped the snap, and the Pioneers did not come up with that football is beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, there was 3 Pioneers on rushing, and he was able to pick the football up and then survive for another play for the Saints.
3rd down and 10 now. 2 third downs converted on this drive already for the Limestone Saints as they lead the game 7-0. A Pioneer offense that has been very sluggish, already 2 turnovers in their opening 3 possessions. Very little offense, just 22 yards of offense for the Pioneers. Under 4 minutes to play here in this first quarter. Noller to pass. He's under some pressure. He takes off 35-40, and he'll be taken down, cut down at about the 42-yard line. He needs the 43 for a 1st down. So it'll be 4th down and a yard for the Saints.
And right now it looks like they're going to go. Now they're going to change out and go with the punt unit. I thought they were going to go for it.
Yeah, well, I think if he had been on the other side of the 41, it would have been easier. Really, they need the 43. So this is more like 4th down and 2. And so the punt unit will come in for Limestone. So Austin Kemp to punt it away. And back deep to receive for the Pioneers, Cannon Hall, a freshman out of Cleveland, Tennessee. Snap is high, and nice job by Kemp to bring it down. He gets away a very high punt. Hall fields it after a fair catch at the 21-yard line. And that's where the Pioneer offense will take over 1st and 10. But a nice job by Kemp on a snap that was very high. And if he was about 4 or 5 inches smaller, that may not have gone as well.
Well, it would have been nice to have seen the Pioneers put a little pressure on that, but they only rushed 2 guys, and that was even a half-hearted effort. Maybe they could have got somebody back there and blocked the punt as long as it took.
39-yard punt, no return. Tusculum down 7-0 to Limestone. Can this be the drive their offense gets going? Corbin is 2 for 4, 15 yards with an interception, also a fumble. Courtney Jackson with 2 carries for 6 yards. Maurice Gamillion with 2 for none. Courtney Jackson handoff from the 20-yard line across the 25 and up to the 26-yard line. And they're going to say, well, Jackson's still fighting to get the football back. And one of the defenders, that was Chandler Corley, comes out without a helmet on and the football. But they say, no, it's Pioneer ball.
It is Pioneer football, and you ask if this is the drive that they get their offense going. It needs to be. We're under 3 minutes here left in the first quarter. Still, obviously, a whole lot of football to play, but it's time to get things moving.
So 2nd down and 4. More like 5. They mark the ball back closer to the 25-yard line. Gamillion in motion out of the backfield. Corbin stands in. Now avoids the rush, rolls the pocket to the right, rolling, and throws it away out of play. It'll bring up 3rd down. Good coverage by Limestone. Did have some guys running free, but Corbin just couldn't train his eyes to find them.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we did. I mean, I'm sitting here pointing, look. Unfortunately, we could see from up here. Corbin couldn't see from there, and the Pioneers missed out on a chance.
So another 3rd down here for Tusculum. They're 0 for 2 in the game, where Limestone is 2 of 4 on 3rd down. 7-0 Limestone. Derek Wright, Tyler Agero, and Justice Parham are the wide receivers. Schellenbach, actually that's Bryce Moore, the tight end for the Pioneers. Corbin out of the gun. Snap is back. pass to this near side, Bryce Moore. He's been a first down machine this season for the Pioneers, and Bryce Moore makes a sure-handed grab across the 30 up to the 31, 1st and 10 Pioneers.
Needed 10 yards, got 11, and the Pioneers are finally moving the sticks.
On 3rd down, get their first conversion so far of the day. So it'll be Corbin who will step back into the gun. Chameleon will line up on his right shoulder. Parham to the near side. Schellenbach is the tight end to the right side. Ajero along with Wright to the right. Corbin, play action, looking. He's going to tuck it, and he's going to take a hit, and he's going to lose yardage. He just kind of let up on the play, and coming up from his corner position was Kendrick Wright, the graduate from Marietta, Georgia. And he loses 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 anyway. It wasn't a good effort. They went from 31 all the way back to, actually the ball is past the 28-yard line.
And Corbin didn't really waste a lot of time. He tucked that ball immediately and didn't see what I guess he thought he could see. And then just kind of jogged to the sideline, and Wright came up and made the hit for a loss of 3. 2nd down and 13. Pioneers empty the backfield. Corbin working from the gun. Four-man rush across the middle, wide open 45 up to the 47-yard line is Derek Wright. 1st and 10 for the Pioneers on the biggest offensive play of the game.
Yeah, great catch by Wright there and able to pick up a few yards after the catch. So hopefully this play will actually spark the Pioneers.
Across that 45 to the 47 near the midfield strike for Tusculum, who trail 7-0 here in this opening quarter of play. Tusculum comes with some tempo, gets to the line of scrimmage quickly. Corbin to pass, looking, rolls the pocket to the far sideline. A long throw complete to Ajero inside the 45 and down to the Saint 43, I think. After a gain of 19 moments ago, this will be a gain of 9 to bring up 2nd down and a yard.
Yeah, actually, bad break for the Pioneers. They didn't get forward progress there because they looked like they might have even got the 1st down.
He was beyond the sticks when he makes the catch.
But he had to turn back, so lost a little bit of ground.
50 seconds left in this opening quarter. 7-0 Limestone. Tusculum with the football driving into Saint territory. It'll be Chameleon this time on the left shoulder of Ivan Corbin in the backfield. Handed off to Chameleon to the right side at the 40. 35, and he is chopped down at about the 33-yard line. And on that far sideline from his secondary spot, Chris Williams makes the stop, but it's a 1st and 10 Tusculum.
Good job by the Pioneers. They're actually getting this thing going, so hopefully they can continue to build on this drive.
Kyle Dickey in his first year as the offensive coordinator calling the plays has been very comfortable doing so this season. And right now in a pretty good rhythm. He's done so in high school as a offensive coordinator. Now here at Tusculum, coming back to his alma mater. Corbin will hand it off. This will be Chameleon again. He'll go between the tackles from the line of scrimmage. The 33 will take it near the 30-yard line and pick up about 3 to make it 2nd down and 7. And Jabez Taylor there on that stop. That will be the final play of our opening quarter. So at the end of 1, it is Limestone 7. It is Tusculum 0. Pioneer football will continue here today from Pioneer Field as you listen to Pioneer football on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Hello, my name is Jacob Fate, and I'm the Dean of the College of Business at Tusculum University. I'm proud to share with you that the programs in the College of Business received accreditation through ACBSP in December of 2018. The Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs accredits business schools and programs worldwide. This accreditation elevates our programs to the top programs worldwide.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip Hop Group Tag Team to help you plan dessert?
Fresh vanilla, rocky road, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop that is, scoop that is, scoop that is, scoop that is, scoop shakalaka, 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 shaka, scoop shakalaka, shakalaka, shakalaka.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Keep me back here to Pioneer Field. We get set to start this second quarter of action. First quarter, Tusculum 72 yards of offense, most of that coming here, at least 50 yards of it coming here. 67 yards of offense for Limestone. They had the short field twice, could not convert on their first opportunity. on the short field. But they were able to convert on their second opportunity. And what I mean by that, 2 turnovers for Tusculum in that opening quarter of play, their first 2 drives. Here they face second down and 7, down 7-0. Corbin going deep, and he's got Parham there, and it's incomplete. He was open, and he just missed him. Third down and 7 coming up.
Ball was overthrown just a little bit, but not so much that it would have been at least an effort for C. Parham lay out to try to catch the thing, but he didn't. He just let it go.
So now the Pioneers face a third down. Need to come up with a play. And, you know, you're in that part of the field where Coach Odom may decide, all right, we got 2 downs to pick up a first down. We may not necessarily kick it here. They're running out of time with 13 seconds on the play clock, and nobody is set. 10 seconds on the play clock, and now Derek Wright will come to the near side. 5 seconds on the play clock. Corbin working out of the gun. 2 seconds, and we'll get the snap off in time. Blitz comes late. It's picked up. Pass to the far side is Parham making a diving catch inside the 20 and down at the 17. First and 10. Nice delivery that time by Ivan Corbin.
Yeah, great hookup. Corbin and Parham couldn't hook up last time for a potential touchdown in the end zone, but they certainly did a good job getting together to pick up the first for the Pioneers.
So that first down and 10 with the Pioneers down 7-0. They're into the red zone for the first time today. 2 for 2 last week when they got into the red zone against Shawan. Corbin, this time handoff Courtney Jackson right up the middle, finding a little daylight, and I think he found the daylight because of a hold, or at least an infraction. And for the second time in the game, losing his headgear was Chandler Corley, and it may not have been just his headgear coming off incidentally. It may have been forced off.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. This is probably going to go against the Pioneers of getting up in face mask and ripping the helmet off.
Joseph Gregory and number 30, Dedrick Lewis.
So we'll wait to see the call. Once again.
The Pioneers sure think it's going against them because they're walking back.
Yeah, they sure are. And they'll back it up 10 yards. Oh, 15 yards. And that is exactly why the helmet came off. So a 15-yard penalty killing the Pioneers here on their second penalty of the game.
They had the ball moved up really well, first and 10 at the St. 12, and now they're backed up first and 25 at the 32.
So now second down should still be first down. It is first down and 25. Corbin with an empty backfield. Flush from the pocket, rolls to the near side. He's well behind the 40, now takes off 35-30 and will take a hit as he crosses the 30 and down to about the 28-yard line. So after all of that, gaining just 4, and he ran for about 30 yards.
Yeah, he did. And I kept thinking he was going to find an open target downfield and be able to unload the football, but he didn't. He was able to tuck it and at least get something out of this play.
So to bring up second down now at about 21, Pioneers need to get inside the 10, closer to the 7-yard line. Again, for this Pioneer offense, 2 turnovers in that opening drive, on the opening drives. Led to the 7 points, a turnover on downs, and then a touchdown for Limestone. Empty backfield again, 3 wideouts left. Now Gamillion lines up to the near side. Corbin to pass, looking. Oh, he had a guy, and he takes off running. 25. And Corbin will be taken down by Javez Taylor inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. So third down coming up. Coming out of his route was Derek Wright, was wide open inside the 15 near the 10-yard line. And Corbin had just decided, I'm taking off instead of delivering that pass.
Well, you know, the pickups by Corbin on the last 2 plays would have been really nice if it had come back at first and 10 instead of first and 25, what the Pioneers are doing, because they're still not back up to the original line of scrimmage.
So third down and 15 here for the Pioneers. They are well within Eli Shepherd range in the event they do not pick up the 15 yards needed. Down 7-0 here at home to the Limestone Saints, whom were defeated 49-17 on this field back in the spring. Corbin, and a false start against the Pioneers. Tusculum did not substitute. So either a timeout is going to be needed here for Limestone. They're going to have too many guys on the field. They are very confused. They do get the timeout. They're going to give Tusculum another free 5 yards, And really, if Corbin just goes ahead and snaps it.
Yeah, that's one of those things, situational awareness for the Pioneers.
Yeah.
See what's going on, snap the football, and get the penalty.
Just get everybody set in the right position and snap the ball. But a timeout taken by Limestone. That'll allow us enough time to tell you that coming up at the half, it's the Tusculum University Halftime Report. The new Director of Music will be joining us, Dr. David Gonzalez. We're going to learn about the new programs that he'll be starting here as they are, bringing back the band, if you will, here to Tusculum. So
we're getting the band back together.
Yeah, we're getting it back. We're getting it back. So we'll talk with Dr. David Gonzalez. That'll be coming up here at the half. And we hope you'll join us and stay with us at that time.
We could get that going.
12:28 on the clock. Limestone had to take a timeout because they didn't have enough defensive personnel out there, getting ready to give Tusculum a free 5 yards again. So now 3rd down and 10 from the 17-yard line of Limestone. Gamillion again empties the backfield, leaves Corbin back there by himself. 5 wideouts in the formation. 3 down linemen and 4 rush. Corbin steps up, fires across the middle to Derek Wright off his fingertips in the end zone, incomplete. It'll be 4th down for Tusculum.
Led him just a little bit too much. Wright did lay out, try to catch the football, but it was just too far.
Open receivers, Corbin just has not been as accurate as he wants to be so far in this game and on the season. For Corbin, 52% accurate. The ball will be spotted down for Cantrell back at the 24. So a 34-yard effort here for Eli Shepard. Curry to snap it, Cantrell to hold it, Shepard to boot it, and this one is good. And the Pioneers are on the board. 12:17 to play here in this opening half. With your new score, we go to break. Limestone 7, Tusculum 3. Pioneer football will continue here from Pioneer Field on the Pioneer Sports Network. On the board on that drive. 14 plays, 63 yards, 5:50 off the clock. But, Joe, that's exactly what the doctor ordered, something on the board.
Yeah, Pioneers still trail, but at least they got points out of that drive. That's the old saying, no, you don't have to score a touchdown every drive, but if you can get points every drive, it's going to add up. So at least they finally got out of the starting gate.
Hey, Justin Spear is going to kick off for the Pioneers. So it'll be our 3rd kickoff guy, and about the same, down at the 8-yard line on the return for the Saints. 20, 25, and up to about the 30-yard line. You want those kickoffs inside the 5, really into the end zone. We just have not had that.
You know, Pioneers have had some really good kickers over the past years that could just drive it out the back at will. Just don't have it currently.
So McCall will take the ball across the 20. At the 30-yard line is where Limestone will take over 1st and 10. They lead the football game 7-3 here in this opening half, and they have the ball on offense. Noller is the quarterback, and it will be McCaffey who will be the running back on his right shoulder. Man in motion across the formation to the near side. So now 3 wideouts to the near side. They'll run to this near side. McCaffey right up the middle, and he loses the football. It's on the ground, and I think he's able to get it back. He falls on top of it at the 36-yard line, and the officials are going to say it's Limestone football, even though
Tusculum comes out of the pile with it.
Pioneer had the football, and I think it's just because he lost it as he was rolling over. I think he was able to fall right back on top of it. So 2nd down and 4 after the gain of 6.
They did rule it a fumble. Said he collected his own fumble was the rule.
That's the 2nd time the ball's been on the ground. The Pioneers haven't been able to come up with it here at Turnover University. Out of the gun again is Noller. It'll be Jacoya Patton who will be the new running back, and this will be play action. Noller to pass, rolls the pocket. Rolling, gets a block, 40. 45, slides down at about the 47. John Smith brings him down there, and it will be 1st and 10 for the Limestone Saints.
And add 15 more yards to it.
Back him up 15 yards. This is actually going to go against Limestone because of words said, I think, to the official by Cody Jones, a redshirt freshman out of Greenville, South Carolina. He was jawing with Jordan Taylor.
Yeah, but you also had a 3rd Pioneer join the mix and actually make contact with him, so we'll see.
After the play was over, dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 26. Stars from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
You're right. Kamari Lovett comes in and has a few little extra things to say at the end of that. Add 15 more to a 12-yard run. And now the ball inside the 40 at the 39. Jerry Odom, if he had hair, would be pulling all of it out.
I mean, that's one of those situations. It was the 3rd man into the fight, and that's where the penalty came in.
So 1st down and 10 from the Pioneer 39. This will be Noller, and he'll hand it off. This will be Jacoya Patton, as he'll take it inside the 35, maybe the 34. Nelson Luis there on the stop, and another gain of 6. It'll bring up 2nd down and 4.
You know, the way Limestone is moving the football in this drive, you think back, you can't give them an extra 15 yards and make it that much easier for them.
So the 2nd down coming up. Nelson Luis, the 2018 Defensive Freshman of the Year. Then he left and came back and has really picked up where he left off in 2018. Had a good spring, not great, but he has been really good for the Pioneers to start the season here in 2021. 10:05 left in the first half, 7-3 Limestone. They are driving as they have it at the Pioneer 33. Here's Jacoya Patton. He'll get a stiff arm and take it down to the 30-yard line, and that'll be shy of the first by about a half yard. So 3rd down coming up for Limestone.
Patton was a little bit taller. I think he could have reached and got it, but as it is, the Pioneers do have a chance to get a stop here.
Kane DeShaughter's going to come in and spell Luis here for the moment on this particular play. 9:41 on the clock. It runs. 7-3 Limestone leads. And for this Pioneer football team, need a stop. Somehow try to find a way here. Less than a yard, though, for the Saints. And they've been pretty good. They have not been driven backwards to this point in the football game very often, maybe once. Noller to pass on 3rd and very short. Under a lot of pressure, he'll roll the pocket. Still rolling the pocket. He's actually going to be hit and be dropped for that loss, as we talked about. Good pursuit by the Pioneers. As right up the middle, the pressure came. Noller had no one to throw to, and he's going to lose a full yard to a yard and a half, and it'll be 4th down and 2.
Yeah, we're anxious to see what Limestone does right here. Pretty sure they're going to go for it.
So the touchdown maker, Terrence Walker, will check in at this play, and they'll go with a beefier set, bring in 2 tight ends. As Jaheim Mathis, a 6'1", 245 redshirt freshman, is also out there. Well, 5 seconds on the play clock, and they're just now getting set. And now they're messed up on the location. They're going to have to call a timeout. So, timeout Limestone.
Yeah, they got the timeout called with 2 seconds remaining on the play clock.
So, we'll take the timeout with them back in 30 seconds here to Pioneer Field. 8:30 to play first half. It's Limestone leading Tusculum 7-3.
The first date. Only one chance to make that first impression. Don't worry, this might be new for you, but Ingalls has been there before. From flowers to the freshest ingredients, we have everything you need to put your best foot forward.
I'm so sorry.
Remember, you can't get to happily ever after without once upon a time.
Wow, it's funny running into
Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
For Limestone. They left their offense out there but didn't get them out there fast enough. Had to burn their second time out of the half. And now we'll see if they leave that offense out there here with 8:30 left to the half. So really a kind of a pivotal moment here, I think, in this first half. Pioneers can get a second turnover on downs in the half. Maybe that sparks them to potentially take the lead going into the half.
I mean, that would be an opportune time defense. You've had your opportunities, you've missed your opportunities. Now you've got a great opportunity, so make the most of it.
The game today has been a running game. McAfee 31 yards, Patton 27 yards, and Noller has rushed for 16 yards. Noller has just thrown for 17 yards on the day. Conversely, Ivan Corbin 6 of 11, 61 yards with the pick. Gamillion 15 yards and Jackson with 12. Noller's going to come under center. Bunch set to the near side. 4th down and 2 coming up. Under center is Noller. Jacoya Patton is behind him. Play action pass. Noller looking to loft it downfield. Witherspoon is back there, and guess who makes the play? Jermaine Witherspoon with the INT. He fields it at the 10. It would have been a turnover on downs, but there is a flag down in the secondary. I don't see this at all. I don't see this play. I don't see them calling this play.
No indication yet is exactly what it's going to be.
If Witherspoon just knocks it down, they have the ball at the 32. But he made the pick. You can't tell a guy to drop an interception, right? But
yeah,
he could have.
Well, that's one of those things. You know, yeah, we can see that from up here that is the smartest thing to do. But in the heat of the moment, is all you see is, hey, the football's coming my way.
I want it. I want the ball. He's told to go get the ball. He's going to wear the bling or the belt or whatever it is they do for defensive stuff now. Well,
kind of like Danny and the Replacements. Go get me the ball. I'll get you the ball. I got you the ball.
Yeah. 8:23 to play here in this opening half, and the Pioneers have the football, but they have it deep in their own territory at the 10. So Ivan Corbin and this offense will be out there. They did pick up the flag. They did not say that the contact warranted whatever they threw the flag for. I always will say, the guy threw the flag for a reason. He saw something. But I think he was talked out of it this time by the other officials. Corbin, hand off to Jackson. Coming to this near side, gets a great block, 15. And he'll take it up to about the 18-yard line. They're going to rule him down. He loses the football. And that is the third time this season that Courtney Jackson has lost the football.
And he does seem banged up on the play. I think he actually rolled over on the ball, and that's...
Yeah. So they're going to check on Jackson. And again, he dropped one at St. Augustine. This is the second time today he's dropped one. And have been able to get back on top of it. This one was ruled down by contact, though.
Well, I mean, in this situation, Pioneers, they are going to get a little bit of a break, so try to get people taken care of.
Maybe. So they continue to check on Courtney Jackson. A nice addition to this Pioneer team. Next week, the Pioneers end their 3-game homestand against the Newberry Wolves. Good to see Jimmy Coggins. He is the longest tenured broadcaster in the South Atlantic Conference. He'll be here on the radio call for Newberry. Newberry, good this year, but they took a tough loss last week. A little bit of a surprising loss, I think, to North Greenville, but they took that loss. They're 1-1. Newberry is in action today and against the 5th-ranked Lenoir-Rhine Bears. So a very top-heavy schedule for Newberry, you could say, much like Tusculum, because they'll have Newberry this week, Wingate next week, and the Lenoir-Rhine Bears the following week. So a very tough open to the conference slate.
We do have a full slate of games today. Barton's at Catawba, UVA Wise at Mars Hill, number 16 Wingate at Carson Newman. Limestone is here, and as you said, number 5 LR playing at Newberry later tonight.
Jackson appears okay as he's off the field. New running back into the contest will be Maurice Gamillion across the 20 and up to about the 22-yard line. And that will be enough to move the chains for a 1st and 10. So first down for the Pioneers, which this drive began at the 10. They have it across the 20 at the 21.
Nice pick up of the first down. Didn't look like it was that big of a play, but it was a productive play to move the chains.
Pioneer football team down 7-3 here on their home turf. 7.5 left to the half. And Tusculum will be kicking off to start the second half. First and 10, Gamillion rushing right to the line of scrimmage, and he will be brought down. And flying in that time from his linebacker spot is going to be Charlie Blase. Blase, the sophomore out of Harrisburg, North Carolina.
Yeah, short pickup for the Pioneers there, trying to just keep this thing going as get ahead in this football game.
Just a gain of a yard, so second down and 9 here for the Pioneers. And in that backfield, Maurice Gamillion. Wide receivers this go around. Will Sweeper is to the near side. The bunch set to the far side with Jackson Boone. Back to pass will be Corbin, and he's going to run and avoid 2. Penalty flag thrown, and the pass downfield is going to be incomplete, as that pass down the field was intended for Darian Anderson, a senior and a Georgia Southern transfer, but this play would have not counted, as the Pioneers are going to be backed up for a hold.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Corbin was able to break free, but he was able to break free because of the infraction.
So penalties rearing their ugly heads against the Pioneers. That'll be their 4th for 45 yards. Pioneers with over 100 yards of offense, but they have no touchdowns to this point for the leading offensive scoring team in the South Atlantic Conference through their first 2 games of the season. Now, it's a little bit misguided, I guess you could say, depending on the group that you play. St. Augustine's not as good as I think they would like to be this year. And then Shawan, obviously a really good team, but they still put up 38 points. So now it's second down and 21 for Tusculum. And again, movement on that offensive line. This time I don't think Limestone jumped into the neutral zone, and this will be just a straight false start against the Pioneers. So back him up 5 more yards. We got a new guard in there. That's Nolan Troyer, a freshman out of Sefner, Florida. So we got some offensive line issues, some guys getting banged up.
Yeah, right there you got the Pioneers. They were able to get 2 first downs, and now they're right back where they started.
So and even back at about the 6-yard line now. So back him up there. Second down and 26. And again, just mental mistakes, more penalties, just very frustrating. 7-3 Limestone. Blitz comes, picked up, hot read thrown way wide of the target, and a very late flag comes in well after the play, thrown by the side judge, who threw the flag on the interception for the Pioneers. So I'm not exactly sure what he's seeing, but he saw something.
It could be a hold against Limestone because the way the play developed and Tusculum didn't have anybody near, he could say they were holding on the defense.
Pass interference, offense, number 11. That penalty decline brings up third down.
So they call pass interference against the Pioneers.
Wow, for a pick. I'm assuming it was a pick. So they decline it. It's third down and 24. Well, from the 6-yard line. And the Pioneers need to give Cantrell some room, or let's just go score. You know what? We haven't thrown the ball down the field. Let's see if we can't get him some max protection and be able to throw it down the field. But 4 wideouts for Ivan Corbin and the offense. 2 seconds, 1 second, 0 seconds, and that will be a timeout, I think, for the Pioneers. They do get the timeout. And it is just not fun right now. Let's take a break. 30 seconds, and we're back to Pioneer Field. 6:35 to play here in this opening half, where it's Limestone 7, Tusculum 3. Pioneer football continues after this on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Broken windshield, take 1.
Hey guys, my windshield just got broken. I feel like I need to blow off some steam. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Mr. Blanks, there's no need to be stressed. Geico makes it easy to file a claim online, on the app, or over the phone.
Yeah, but what if I never hear back? That's gonna make me want to go, Jack.
No, your Geico claims team is always there for you.
That makes me want to celebrate with some fireworks. 5, 6, 7, go. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah!
Geico, great service without all the drama.
They had moved the ball beyond the 20, but now a hold and a false start has them deep inside the 10 at their own 6, facing third down and 24, down 7-3. Corbin with an empty backfield, working from the gun, standing on his goal line. looking to his left, throwing left to Gamillion and across the 10 and up to about the 15-yard line, and that's just to buy Cantrell a little more space, a little more breathing room. And it'll bring up 4th down at about 15.
Yeah, right now we need Cantrell to unleash one of the big punts that he's been able to do here and really try to buy Tusculum some time before we can get out of this quarter.
Moment here for Limestone. They get some field position potentially as coming back will be Caden Peeler to field this punt. He'll stand around the midfield stripe as it will be Cantrell standing with his heels on the goal line. Good snap right to him. Punt away, and this one's beautiful. It's a spiral that turns over. Peeler over the shoulder grab at the 30. Retreats to the 26. Here he is, 35, 40, and up to about the 43-yard line before he'll be taken down there by the long snapper, Curry. That was a beautiful punt and the best of the year for Andrew Cantrell.
Yeah, I mean, we said it, the Pioneers certainly needed it, and they did get it, so good job by the Pioneers. Now the defense has got to do some more work over the next 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
Timeout on the field. We'll take it. We're back in 1 minute to Pioneer Field. 5:42 to play in the opening half. It's Limestone 7, Tusculum 3. Pioneer football continues after this on the Pioneer Sports Network.
We are in Granger County, Tennessee, here at Pierce Farms, and the Pierce family has been working with Ingalls for over 30 years. It means a great deal supplying produce as a local farmer. It really touches base knowing that we're just simple people just trying to help, and we love what we do, and Ingalls is a huge part of helping us do it. Farming is who we are, and it's in our blood. God has really blessed us with the sun and the soil to grow the best tomatoes you'll find anywhere. I believe it's really in the soil. So if you're in Granger County and you farm tomatoes, then you're in. Just a great blessing on us to actually farm and be able to farm and to supply tomatoes to people. And Ingalls really cares about family farms like Pierce Farms, and they really care about their customers. We're just glad to be a part of that. God has blessed us with a really great partnership there. They make fresh local produce have real meaning for lots of people. I'm Shane Pierce, and this is my Ingalls story.
First down and 10 for the Limestone Saints coming up here. It is 5:42 to play. Martin and Catawba. Catawba's off to a good start, 2-0 this year. Mars Hill and UVA Wise played in the spring, with Wise winning in the spring.
Both of those games are going final, and I'll tell you about them here in a minute.
First down and 10 for Brian Noller and the offense for Limestone. They've run the ball effectively today, 74 rushing yards for Limestone. Pioneers trying to blow that up as well. They do so here with a short gain after a gain of about a yard, second down and 9.
Catawba improves to 3-0 with a 17-10 victory over Barton. That is a non-conference game today, but in the future, it's probably going to count. One that does count today, Mars Hill 44-9 over UVA Wise in their South Atlantic Conference opener.
Well, it's obviously not the spring, and all those dudes that weren't there for Mars Hill in the spring are there in the fall. Not surprising.
Clifton figured out how to get them there. And
Yep. Second down and 9 coming up here for Limestone. Clock runs as we approach 5 minutes to play in the half. Noller steps up in the pocket. He's got room to run. 45 and be hit at the 48 and then make it to about the 50. That's where they're going to stop the forward progress. That's where they blew the whistle. Jordan Taylor steps up to make that stop. But Noller's been very effective when he runs it, and it's created third down and 3.
Third and 3 with the ball right at midfield for the Saints.
Into the contest. Trey Stewart, third running back, going to be used. Winston-Salem, North Carolina product. Be back there with Noller as we go to 4.5 to play here in the first half. And again, Limestone will receive the second half kickoff. And the Pioneer offense is just really not real consistent to this point in this football game. Noller empty backfield on third down and 3 right at midfield. Looking to his right, throwing right, complete right, 45, and this will be Peeler, who will take it inside the 45 and down to the 42. Jermaine Witherspoon on the stop, and it moves the chains, first and 10.
Another score of interest based off last week. Shawan's playing Erskine, and Shawan has dropped 49 on the Flying Fleet, and that game's not yet final.
Wow. Again, Shawan, they're going to start 3-0.
I think if I looked at it correctly, it was 49-19.
Wow. First down and 10 Under 4 to play in the first half for Limestone. New set of downs. McAfee is the running back. They'll run a reverse. Double pass, wide open down the field, dropped. So they run a reverse and then lateral it back to Noller. And the Pioneers, who left a man open, weren't going to be beat. But McAfee this time for not much, maybe a yard or two, and it'll bring up a 3rd and long. McIntyre, along with John Smith, help out on the stop.
That previous play was one of those, if it worked, it's the greatest thing ever, how awesome that was. But when it doesn't work, you're like, well, that's silly. You know you shouldn't have done that.
Jamari Hill helping out on that last stop as well. So 3rd down and about 8. And, you know, you run the handoff and then you lateral to the receiver, and the running back continues a route. And then the receiver laterals it back to the quarterback, who then throws downfield. Trick plays the last 2 weeks have been pretty effective. And Jerry Odom is going to burn his final timeout here in this first half, a defensive timeout.
Stopping the clock at 2:58 before the halftime.
So another break here before the half. We take it back right after this. And 2:58 to play in the half, where it's Limestone 7, Tusculum 3 here on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Football on WSNG with Brian Staten.
Pioneers get a big stop as Jihad Russ gets in on Noller and forces a pass out of bounds, incomplete. It'll be 4th down for Limestone, and the punt team will be out with 2:51 to play here in this first half.
Brian, another game down the road in Jefferson City. It's under weather delay. Wingate is leading Carson Newman in the 3rd quarter, but that game is halted. And if you look at the weather radar, it's coming.
It's on the way. So maybe shorten halftime. I don't know. But I don't think we'll have enough time. I was just got a note from my wife who's down in Knoxville, and they're under a lightning delay. So it's fun times. 4th down and 8 from the 41 of Tusculum, and Kemp to punt it away. Cannon Hall will stand inside the 10 at about the 9, really just standing on the 10. Kemp, a 39-yard punt, his first effort of the day. This is a much better snap for him as well. Kemp gets away a very high angled punt. It hits at the 4 and bounces out of bounds at the 4-yard line. There is a penalty flag that was thrown, and this will be going against the Pioneers as well. There has got to be something that has to happen. It has to change. Too many penalties, just stupid penalties, that have really affected the Pioneers here today.
I didn't see exactly what happened, but I did see Jerry Odom meet one of his players out on the field, so we know it's going against Tusculum.
It's just dumb. You know, the holding I can deal with, but it's the jumping in after a play and chest bumping somebody for a free 15 yards. And hold here on the return team. And now it's half the distance back to the 2 with 2:43 to play. Limestone has definitely won the field position game here today, and it's hard to get any of your offense going. It really shrinks the playbook when you're snapping the ball from your end zone.
It really does. I guess if you want to pull some bright spot out of this, you know, the penalty only cost the Pioneers about a yard
2
and a half.
yards, yeah. So either way, 2:43 to play here in this first half. You just get to a point where you're just like, are you kidding me? 7-3 Limestone. They scored on their 2nd offensive series after a fumble by Ivan Corbin. Gave them the ball at the 26 of Tusculum. Corbin will take the snap out. Limestone does have one remaining.
Be interesting to see if Limestone calls it maybe after this next play, seeing what Tusculum does. Use it here to buy them.
Per game. So far, just 19 yards. He'll get actually it'll be Corbin who's going to keep it, and he took a pretty good hit at about the 8-yard line. Somewhat of a blindside tackle that time, and he's going to get up rather slowly. And a guy that's been laying some wood out there is Chandler Corley, makes that big stop. He was there initially.
He was. I mean, it was a solid hit. Corbin did get up, and he is still in the football game, so at least it wasn't too bad.
So 3rd down and about 5 with the ball at the 8.5. Well, really about the 8, so they back it up there. So 3rd down, more like 6 coming up for the Pioneers. Under a minute and a half when the Pioneers will get it snapped. 5 seconds on the play clock. Backfield is emptied. And need a conversion here. Corbin gets the snap, looking, throwing. This pass will be complete. Had the first down, but Derek Wright went backwards and lost the first down. I'm not sure where they're going to spot it, because the guy on that far side who spots it is talking to the official as there's a penalty down, I think, on the far sideline. And if that is the case, then the Pioneers lined up incorrectly, or Limestone jumped, or were lined up in the neutral zone. But they never really spotted the ball, because the guy who threw the penalty should have spotted the ball, and he never did.
Illegal shift on the offense, 2 men in motion, but never got set prior to the snap.
There you go.
5 yards, replay 3rd down.
So illegal shift against the Pioneers.
So 2 guys moving at the same time is what that's all about.
Actually, right now, Limestone is saying no, they want to decline the penalty because they want it to be 4th down.
But they don't even know where the ball was spotted, because the guy who's supposed to spot the ball ran into the referee.
Limestone has elected to decline the foul.
So they're going to wind up spotting the ball right on the 10-yard line, which is probably about right.
Yeah, it's probably right. Limestone going to burn their final timeout here, so the clock does not run. So coming up at the half, our Tusculum University halftime report. We'll be joined by the new director of music here at Tusculum, Dr. David Gonzalez. We'll talk about him, about he's new to the campus, new to the area, talk about him and learn a little bit more about him and the ideas that he has for bringing the band back here at Tusculum.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Out of the Limestone timeout, Cantrell is out to punt. His last punt, one of his best of the season. And Peeler stands right at midfield. Curry with a good snap, again perfect. Cantrell, this one not as good, off the side of his foot. Peeler fields it at the 45 of Tusculum and then took a big hit on the return at the 42-yard line by Richard Gervale, who just wants to get down the field and hit somebody. The All-American sprinter gives Limestone the ball 1st and 10 at about the 42, and they are actually going to spot it at the 40 somehow.
Ball spotted, 1:09 on the clock. Neither team has a timeout left here in the first half.
So 1:09 left. Limestone also receives the second half kickoff. Keep that in mind. And the Pioneers won the toss, elected to receive, and then promptly threw an interception. Pioneer defense got a stop, turnover on downs. And then the third play of the next drive for the Pioneers, they fumbled it. Limestone took it, and 2 plays into the end zone for a 7-0 lead. Pioneers would kick a field goal early in the second quarter. That's kind of where we've been, defensive struggle. Noller going to hand it off. Nothing at the 45-yard line. Kwaheem Glasgow right up the middle, and he did get some help. But that was a big stop right there by the senior, Glasgow.
It was, I guess Jamar Hill was the other one in on the stop, doing a good job of reading that play right from the start.
2nd down, 14, back at the 45-yard line. Limestone with 40 seconds to play. Pass is deflected and incomplete, stopping the clock with 40 seconds and 3rd and 14 for the Saints.
Pioneers doing a great job putting pressure on the quarterback, breaking through that offensive front.
Noller just 24 yards passing to this point. Corbin was 71 yards. And defenses, I guess you could say, have been good, but Tusculum's offense has been shooting themselves in the foot with just silly penalties. 6 for 52 in this game. Noller back in the gun, 3rd and 14. Patton will come to empty the backfield to the near side slot position. Receiver screen complete, 40, 36, and it'll be 4th down there. Jermaine Witherspoon does make the stop, and it will be 4th down with the clock running, 25 seconds. And I don't know, you can't clock it, and nobody's really in a hurry to run their kicking team out. And Brian Turk is looking over at his coaches like, what do we do?
Well, you don't have a timeout, and the clock is running 13, 12, 11.
They're going to go, and they're just going to maybe throw something into the end zone, but wait to the very last second to snap it. 4 seconds, 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Noller will get the snap, and he will throw it to the end zone here for the final play of the first half. And he's going to airmail everybody back at the end zone. They're going to rule it an interception as Tykorian Brown gets the INT with zeros on the clock. Pioneers will be kicking it away when we start the second half. Coming up here, the Tusculum University halftime report. Dr. David Gonzalez will be joining us. We'll talk about our first half statistics, our first half plays, and bring you the second half. At halftime, it is Limestone 7 and Tusculum 3. Pioneer football will continue here on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Tusculum University is Tennessee's first university. Established in 1794, Tusculum's beautiful campus is nestled in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Students from 31 states and 15 countries have found a home here. With nearly 60 areas of study, Tusculum can help you pioneer your path to success. Visit www.tusculum.edu or call 423-636-7300 to discover the Pioneer experience for yourself.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Family.
Food's here!
What's it mean to you?
We got lunch.
To us, it means the people you care about, look out for, and yeah, love. Even if you'd never...
The conference opener for both of these teams. It's our Tusculum University halftime report. We are joined by Dr. David Gonzalez, who has been hired as the new director of music here at Tusculum and has been challenged to get us a band, get us some atmosphere, not only here, not only at our athletic events, but also allow us to, I think, have some concerts and have some community-related events. We're going to talk a lot about that. First, welcome. Thanks for being here and joining us. And new to the area, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm from a small rural town in Arkansas called Des Arc, Arkansas, population 1,000. And glad to be here. A little bit about myself. I recently just moved from Tempe, Arizona with my wife, Erin Owens, who's now Erin Gonzalez. But we're expecting a daughter in December. And yeah, it's been awesome. I've been on the recruitment trail for a little bit here, just trying to get kids involved and active in the band program. We currently have 8 students, and Yeah, looking forward to being part of the game day atmosphere.
And I guess your challenge is to restart that. So, what type of vision do you have, and where do you want to see this eventually, ultimately end up?
So, I guess my vision starting off is to start a little bit smaller. Start with a pep band that plays in the stands. We'll accompany the cheerleading squad, and we'll play first down cheers, defensive cheers to help us out. Just make it a more active stadium. The other thing, I guess, leading past that is we want a pregame show. We're going to play the national anthem. We're going to form a tunnel for the players to run in. We want that full game day atmosphere for our students here at Tusculum.
You talked a little bit about, what you're kind of overseeing. You are the director of music, but what other responsibilities will you have as far as where we take music here at Tusculum overall?
So, again, the first and foremost, they want a pep band. They want, a full-fledged marching band that's going to be on the field. But, kind of leading off of that, you'll have a color guard where they're going to spin flags on the field. We're looking forward to having a pit in the front where people will roll mallet keyboard percussion instruments that are hooked up to speakers. And then, again, leading into the spring kind of winter area of those two programs, specifically color guard and indoor drumline, we're going to be competing against other of the same, instrumentation all across this state, right? Of Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia. We're going to be competing and making it, again, where yes, we want the kids to come here, but we also want to make it a little bit competitive, so they get something out of it as well.
All right, so we talk about this. It's tough to start a program, but what is your realistic goal of getting that type of atmosphere here?
So, like I said, currently we have 8 students. That's obviously not even enough to make a pep band. We don't have any percussion.
Right.
But as soon as we get to around 15, 20 kids, we will have a pep band in the stands. As soon as we get to around 30 to 40, we'll be on the show. We'll do a halftime show during halftime. And as soon as we hit 50 to 60 kids, we're going to have the full pregame, go for end zone to end zone. Again, create the tunnel, make the football team run out. And again, this is, I guess, part of my main duties are, the marching band for the football team, but we're also going to have pep bands. Again, that's why we're starting with the pep band. We're going to be at basketball games. We're going to be at volleyball games. There's even talk about us being in the stands at soccer games. So we're just going to be seen doing what we do best everywhere.
At soccer games, I'm a soccer guy. So at soccer games, you could just bring a drum out and just beat on a drum the entire time. I mean, that would be awesome.
That would be cool, yeah. Just a full drum set, that would be nice.
All right, we got this. I'm asking you about when we're going to do this, when we're going to see this. So really, I guess my thing is we're going to have like an all-out marching band that will be here. And how long do you think that could take before we can have that type of an atmosphere where we're seeing halftime shows, pregame shows?
So the timeline that I have in mind for right now is anywhere from 3 to 5 years. We will have, by 5 years, we will have something that will be across the whole field, right? And first to third year, we're going to work on the pep band. We're going to work at being at the basketball games, like that close-knit unit. No marching involved, maybe parading to the stadium, all that kind of stuff. But about 3 to 5 years, and I think we'll have a pretty well-rounded group.
The whole idea of music. That's what you get in the car. You listen to music. You're at the house. You're listening to some music. If you're doing some chores around, to have music and band. All of that stuff here, creating that atmosphere here, the atmosphere can be electric. I mean, when you're going through the process of being hired, and then walking through and seeing some of the buildings, Pioneer Arena, which probably acoustically might be a little bit louder than normal. What do you envision just rocking this place out when you get to the point where you need to be?
Oh yeah, and we're gonna be seated right here next to the student section.
Right here with us.
Yeah, right here with you guys. We're gonna be right along with you for the ride. We're going to be playing, first down cheers, anything from 2 to 3 seconds to full-fledged, pieces of music. But it's going to electrify any space that we go to. Like you said, the arena's acoustic. It's live. It's very live. But here at the stadium, it's a little bit more open.
It is.
So we may, again, if we start small, we may need to be mic'd for a little bit. Yeah. But past that, we're trying to get the student body encouraged to come to the games and actually, show up and cheer us on. But yeah, we're going to make it as loud and live as possible, and also we're going to be pointing at the opposite team so they can't hear or call plays. That's another thing that is going to change the environment of the marching band.
All right, so we're talking marching band, we're talking pep band. Is there any concert band? Do you have any envisions for that too?
Yeah, so those are also happening at the same time. Again, the fall semester is going to be focused mostly on marching band, and then the spring's going to turn to concert band while still having a pep band. we are in the beginning stages of starting a community band as well. So if anybody who was in high school or anybody's parents that also local in the area, however far you personally want to travel, we're working on a community band that will hopefully start up around January, and that's to get, again, just the community engagement, the community outreach that this is going to bring. Because again, you come in here, the marching band, you're like, man, I miss playing my trumpet, I miss playing percussion. It's like, well, you have a chance, other than coming back for alumni night on like homecoming. You have a chance to do that weekly if you so choose.
All right, so how do we help support you?
So there are a couple of ways. One of the ways is I've been told to have you go to www.tusculum.edu and select the Give icon at the top, or call the Office of Institutional Advancement at 423-636-7303. And just, anything that you donate goes from instruments to uniforms. We can't, like today, we wouldn't be wearing a full uniform today because it's too hot on the kids. But we're in the beginning stages of looking, like, what are our uniforms going to look like, Right now it's going to be black and orange is what I'm kind of seeing, but, like, we'll have 2 different kinds of uniforms. So, again, it's going to take quite a bit of money. And then with the end goal being around 50 to 60 kids in the program, each of them has to have a uniform that fits.
Right.
So, anything right now is appreciated. This specifically this year, I've been working on just getting the instruments, like buying a new drum line set and all that kind of stuff. So the budget for this first year is being spent specifically on instrumentation, so when we do have the kids, they have something to play. But anything and everything is welcome.
From the dry air of Tempe, you're going to see a thunderstorm rolling through.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Welcome to East Tennessee. Welcome to East Tennessee. I hope you're acclimated and ready for that. Dr. Gonzalez, thank you for joining us. Best of luck to you as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Dr. Gonzalez, our Tusculum University halftime report. Back with more halftime after this. It's Limestone 7, Tusculum 3. Pioneer football continues here on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Never let them hear you say it.
Hey, you're eating hummus? What's wrong with hummus?
Here at Ingalls, we have everything you need to gather around the table and give each other a hard time. Because that's what families do. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
Hello, my name is Jacob Fate, and I'm the Dean of the College of Business at Tusculum University. I'm proud to share with you that the programs in the College of Business received accreditation through ACBSP in December of 2018. The Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs accredits business schools and programs worldwide. This accreditation elevates our programs to the top programs worldwide.
Back to the Tusculum University halftime report here at the half. It's Limestone 7 and Tusculum 3. Let's take a look at your first half numbers. The Pioneers, in that first half, just not a lot of offense. All right, we're just going to basically say that. Each team had 6 first downs. I think that's right. 6 first downs in that first half. Limestone, 19 carries, 79 yards. Tusculum, 16 for 52. Limestone was 4 for 12 passing, 32 yards, and 2 interceptions. Corbin was 8 of 14 with a pick, 71 yards. 31 plays, 111 yards for Limestone. 30 plays, 123 yards for Tusculum. That's it. I mean, that's it. Two interceptions for the Pioneers, 1 for Limestone. 2 punts for the Limestone, 38-yard average. 2 for the Pioneers, 43-yard average. Tusculum has a fumble, lost it. Really, Limestone has 2 fumbles. They dropped the snap, but they have recovered both of the balls that have hit the ground. Live play. 3 penalties, 25 yards for Limestone, 6 for 52 for Tusculum. It's really hurt. Limestone leads time of possession, 16:02 to 13:58. Tusculum is 2 of 7 on third downs. Limestone is 3 for 8 in this first half. Individually for Tusculum rushing, Maurice Gamillion, 7 carries, 22 yards. Courtney Jackson, 4 for 20. He was injured in the first half. Ivan Corbin, 5 for 10. For Limestone, McAfee, 5 carries, 33 yards. Patton has 9 carries, 24 yards. And Noller, 5 carries for 22 yards. Ivan Corbin, 8 of 14 passing with a pick, 71 yards. Noller is 4 for 12 with 2 picks, and really the one at the end of the half, you have to, I guess, rule it a pick, but it doesn't really count. 32 yards and a touchdown. Derek Wright has 2 catches for Tusculum, 21 yards. Parham, Agero, and Sweeper each with 1. For Limestone, Peeler 2 for 10. Walker has the touchdown, a 14-yard reception. And High, a catch for 8 yards. Punting, Andrew Cantrell 3 for a 43.3-yard average, a long of 55, his long of the season. Kemp, 2 punts for a 38-yard average, a long of 39. Defensively for the Pioneers, Jermaine Witherspoon, glad to have him back. 6 tackles today, 5 unassisted tackles. Kamari Lovett with 4, Nelson Luis with 4. And for Limestone, Blase with 6, Clayton has 5, and Corley with 4. The statistics here in this first half. Scoring plays, we got one of them to talk about. That's when we continue with more of the Tusculum University Halftime Report after this, as you listen to Pioneer Football on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip-hop group tag team to help you plan dessert?
French vanilla, rocky road, chocolate, peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop that is, scoop that is, scoop that is, scoop that is, scoop. Shakalaka, 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 shaka, scoop. Shakalaka, shakalaka, shakalaka.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
Tusculum University halftime report, where Limestone leads Tusculum 7-3. Let's take a look at our first half highlights. They're brought to you by your Greenville Light and Power System, serving Greenville and Greene County since 1945. And really the highlights are the lowlights for Tusculum. Tusculum wins the toss. They elect to receive, and on their opening drive of the game on the third play, a pass intended for Ben Schellenbach, a little high, off his hands, deflected straight into the air, and was intercepted by Chris Williams, who returned it 23 yards to the Pioneer 27. Limestone would then go for it on 4th down and not convert on a big hit by Kamari Lovett, knocking the ball away from Caden Peeler, and the Pioneers would take over. They would go 2 plays and be very successful. And then on 3rd down and 4, a running play by Corbin scrambling from some pressure in the pocket, and he would be hit and fumble, and it would be recovered by Limestone at the Pioneer 26. They would take just 2 plays after that. At this time, it would be Dustin Noller to Terrence Walker. Pass, looking downfield, got a man wide open.
This is the only one there is.
Touchdown, Terrence Walker. A very similar play to what we saw last week against Shawan. Well, Terrence Walker, touchdown reception of the year, and for Dustin Noller's 3rd touchdown toss of the season. It was set up on an 11-yard, or I should say a 15-yard rush after a 5-yard penalty. The touchdown toss to the corner of the end zone for Terrence Walker in stride. The point after was good, and it took a minute 6 off the clock. It was 7-0 with 9:39 to play in the first quarter. Tusculum's offense would drive, get stymied, have to punt. The defense would be very stingy against Limestone. They would move the ball efficiently enough, but forced to punt. And then we just kind of went back and forth in between the 30s, and nobody really did anything. Then Limestone really took advantage of some second-half field position and forced Tusculum into some really tough plays. Tusculum would get a field goal, a 34-yard field goal from Eli Shepard after a 14-play, 63-yard drive that took 5:50 off the clock to make it 7-3 with 12:17 to play in the half. And that's where we are, your Greenville Light and Power highlights of the first half. We have some dark clouds, some ominous weather that it's making its way here to Pioneer Field. We hope we can get as much of the second half in when we come back after this. Thanks for listening to the Tusculum University Halftime Report. We're at the half. It's Limestone 7 and Tusculum 3. Back with the second half after this as you listen to Pioneer Football on the Pioneer Sports Network. Second half, Limestone leading Tusculum 7-3. It's a race to see if we can get this second half in without a delay. I'm not sure that will happen. They have had a delay down at Carson Newman at Mossy Creek and along that Knoxville I-40, I-81 corridor with some rain heading this way.
Well, from the looks of the radar, at least the lightning portion of it has perhaps let up. It's still, I think the rain's headed this way, but maybe we can do without the lightning.
Yeah, that's where we would get into the delay. We'll play through rain. We thank you for listening to our Tusculum University halftime report. Thanks to Dr. David Gonzalez for visiting with us, talking to us about the band program and how you can help. And again, visit tusculum.edu and you can get more information about how you can help the band program and help that band get restarted. You know, Joe, when the band started here, we were all really excited, about that. And it just never really flourished into what I think David Price wanted it to be.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't understand. I don't know the dynamics of that situation of what it takes to start a band. I can't play a musical instrument. I do well to play the radio. But it's really a shame that the band never did take off. So hopefully this time we can get something going.
As a Pioneer football team that'll be kicking off to start this second half as well. So we'll see what type of adjustments Pioneers can make. And then the adjustments needed is just picking up some yardage.
Yeah, get your offense going. You're holding a pretty decent football team with 9 Division I transfers to 7 points and a half.
Yeah.
Defense really isn't playing that bad despite some mistakes. The offense is what's got to get going.
And some guys that have come from some pretty good Division II schools here to Limestone. Yeah. So you've got some – that transfer portal is going to help a lot of schools. It's going to hurt a lot of schools. It hurt Tusculum with the portal. And we did pick up some guys. There's no question about that. But for Limestone, it really helped them pick up some graduate transfers for this season, no question about it.
I mean, you look down your roster, you're looking at a couple Coastal Carolinas, Mercer, Citadel, Jackson State, Kennesaw State. They've got some guys that have played for some pretty good schools.
I mean, I can't believe anybody would leave Jackson State with Deion Sanders coaching there. For crying out loud. Why would you want to leave?
Well, why would you want to leave Coastal Carolina, even if you're not playing?
Yeah, it's very true. So back to kick it away again is going to be Justin Spear to kick it away. And this kickoff driven to the far sideline will hit at the 5. It actually hits the Limestone returner and goes out of bounds at the 3. What a fortunate break for the Pioneers. Not intended for that to happen, but it was a huge break, and he tried to get out of the way, but it hit him, and it went out of bounds at the 3.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a penalty for against the Pioneers with that ball going out of bounds that way. But he actually looked like he stuck his hand out and was trying to stop it or catch it or do something. Either way, great starting defensive field position here for Tusculum in the second half.
Just one returner that time, and the kickoff was to the far side pylon. And as it was going that way, the only way to slow it down was to try to get in front of it, and really should have just let it go. And if it goes through the end zone, it's the 25. If it goes out of bounds, it's the 35. So here it is, 1st and 10 at the 3. So a taste of Tusculum medicine from the first half, where the Pioneers had terrible starting field position. Limestone will have bad field position here. Handoff, though, will give them some good field position across the 5, 10, and up to the 14-yard line, as McAfee will carry the ball from the 3 to the 14 and gain 11, 1st and 10.
Get what they need on the first play of the drive here for a first down for the Saints.
1st and 10, that offensive line opening up a pretty good hole right up the middle. So Noller with 2 backs in the backfield, working out of the gun, and now emptying the backfield with Jacoria Patton. This is going to be McAfee running it to the near side, maybe a yard this time, or 2. They give him the 16 as he is upended by Ryan McIntyre and company. 2nd down and 8.
Good stop here. Unfortunately, it came after the big plays, so defense just needs to collect itself. You still got good defensive field position.
7-3 Limestone. We just start the second half. We welcome you back into Pioneer Field. Noller looking over to the far sideline. This drive began at the 3. There was one other drive for Limestone where they began inside the 10 at the 7. And they picked up a couple of first downs, but never really flipped the field. Noller will bring Walker in motion, and he loses the snap. Not once, but twice. It's in the end zone, and then it's out of the back of the end zone for a safety. Noller just knocking the ball out of bounds, and the Pioneers get 2.
And the football back. So, good job by the Pioneers. The offense isn't scoring. Get the defense and score for you, even if it's just 2.
So it was a bad snap. Noller put his tight end in motion across the formation. The snap came back wide of Noller, who couldn't get his hand out in time, got it late, slowed it down, and then as he was running backwards, instead of just falling on it, tried to pick it up the first time, and then the defense got there and put a shove on Noller and shoved him, and fortunately Noller was able to knock the ball the rest of the way out of bounds.
I'm sure the Pioneers would have loved to have jumped on the football in the end zone, but they'll take the 2 points and then the kick here coming their way.
So it'll be a free kick coming up for the Limestone Saints, really for Tusculum. They'll send that return team out, and Kemp is, he's a very good punter, very high punt as well. Kickoffs, Kemp has been really, really good for that too. Let's just be honest. And they may just let him kick it off, and they are. They're going to let him just kick it off. He's got a big leg. Well, we've got some issues with lining up where we're supposed to be.
Limestone was confused. They thought, hey, we're changing into the field.
They have to kick from the 20, and that is the issue.
Well, the real issue was Limestone came up, and they were going down toward this 20.
Yeah, exactly. Reggie Kellum is back deep. Trey Burke back deep. So a couple of new returners. Pardon me, I said Trey. Tyler Burke. And while I'm thinking of it, last week I kept calling Trey Trawick because it's T-R-A-W. I associate that with draw, D-R-A-W, straw. It is Trawick, so my apologies to the Trawick family for calling Trey Trawick all game, including the pick 6. Kemp kicking it away, not his best effort here. It'll be picked up at the 21. Kellum, 30. Actually, that's Burke, 35-40. Burke at the 40, and Burke finally taken out of bounds at the Limestone 40-yard line. A great return by Mr. Burke, an explosive young freshman out of Florida.
Great job by Burke there. Not a very big runner, but he ran with a big passion right there, getting the blocks up front he needed to put the Pioneers in position to take the lead in this football game.
Tyler is going to remind you of a guy we had here a few years ago, and he's not very far away from home right now down in the Cleveland area, that being Justin Houston. the All-American. What a phenomenal player. That's exactly who Tyler Burke reminds me of. Now the Pioneers in business. They have flipped the field. They have the safety. The new score is 7-5. Baseball game breaking out here at Pioneer Field. And this will be Corbin to pass. His intended target is Parham, but the pass is high and incomplete. Second down and 10.
Parham's able to go up and at least get one hand on it, but that tall, stretching jump allowed the Limestone defender to get up and push him out of the way and break up the pass.
So second down for Tusculum. Can they take advantage of this great field position here in this third quarter? No touchdowns to this point for the conference's leading offense. Blitz comes, they run away from it. This is going to be Gamillion inside the 35. He'll take it down to the 32-yard line. And a really good tackle that time made by Zane Boozer, the junior out of Liberty, South Carolina. He was being held as he made the tackle. So now it's third down and 5.
Third and 5, ball spotted on the 32. Pioneers, I really want to see them get a first down here and keep this drive going.
Really no explosion plays for the Pioneers in this game, and that's really been the difference. Nobody has really had a play over 17 yards. There was a 19-yard play for the Pioneers. This play down to Parham at the 5, caught it to the 1, to the end zone. Did he get in? He did. Touchdown Pioneers! Touchdown Justice Parham from Ivan Corbin. It covers 32 yards.
Great job of Parham. I kind of criticized him a little bit in the first half for not laying out. He laid out, sold his body out for that play, and got the Pioneers in the lead.
Ivan Corbin, it was a bit high, but it was to the leading receiver for this Pioneer team, Justice Parham. And Justice with the touchdown as Eli Shepard to attempt the point. We have to take a timeout on special teams.
I think we've got too few. They only had 10 men on the field.
It's exciting when we score, I know. It's really exciting. But, man, we have to do our job. Ivan Corbin's 4th touchdown toss of the year. He's rushed for a touchdown on the season. And the Pioneers have the lead for the very first time. We're going to keep it here because we're going to be going to break right after this extra point. But these are things that just, if you sense it in my voice, it's driving me crazy.
Yes.
To take timeouts, number 1 on defense, and definitely number 2 after we score a touchdown.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Could you not have gone ahead and kicked the extra point with 10 men on the field? Because chances are the other team wasn't going to give a whole big effort trying to get in and block extra points anymore. They just don't. Field goal, different situation. Extra point. Most of the time, defenses just kind of stand up, throw their hands up.
Well, this was a big series for the Pioneers. They get the safety, number 1, leads to the bad kickoff by Kemp and the great return by Tyler Burke. Field position for the Pioneers, and they took advantage. And our first explosive play of the game outside of that kickoff return for Justice Parham. Now the Pioneers will go for 2, leading 11-7. This will be Corbin. He's going to walk into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. Yes, sir. We go to a break and a brand new score. It's now Tusculum 13, Limestone 7. Pioneer football will continue after this on the Pioneer Sports Network.
'Johnson City Toyota is the #1 Toyota dealership in the Tri-Cities because we make buying simple. First, we discount every vehicle every day, and we stand behind what we sell with a lifetime warranty. For more, simply go to johnsоncitytoyota.com.
Three plays, 37 yards, took 44 seconds on the clock, off the clock, and it was all set up by the great kickoff return by Tyler Burke to put the Pioneers in the position they were in. And they get on the board on the touchdown toss from Ivan Corbin to Justice Parham that covered 32 yards. And the 2-point conversion by Corbin. And it's a 10-point, in a sense, it's a 10-point play. It's 13-7. Pioneers go down 3 to down, or I should say down 4 to down 2, now up 6.
It's just a good series that the Pioneers have to build on here. Just keep taking and putting the pressure on there and maybe see if they can't tack on another score.
In the spring, the Pioneers threw for 519 yards. What a difference a few months makes, and the portal. So Spear to kick off, and this whole thing has started on Spear, and now he's kicked it off, and it's going to be muffed, but then fallen on at the 25. It was taken by an up back, and he was fortunate, as we got some theatrics going on the field as well. It was fortunate that it fell right at the feet of the returner.
Yeah, for Limestone, certainly it was. It's a bad break for the Pioneers. They were hoping to get some sort of knuckleball in there and get good field position again, but as it is, the Saints will begin their drive here on the 25.
Well, I think for Spear, he still wants to kick it deep and not that line drive. I think he's being coached up right down the sideline. Hey, let's work on getting it up a little higher and further. So at the 25 is where Limestone will take over, 1st and 10. They move right to left on your radio or your TV, whatever you're watching. 12:57 here in the third. Yeah, a lot of action, not a lot of time off the clock. So Noller with 2 backs in the backfield will hand it off, and this will be McAfee. Bounces off 1, bounces off 2, and he'll gain 10 yards across the 30 and up near the 35-yard line. They mark him out at the 34. He'll gain 9 yards as Jermaine Witherspoon couldn't bring him down initially, and Nelson Luis had him at the line of scrimmage, and he broke that tackle.
Yeah, I mean, McAfee just did a good job right there. I thought he was going to be tackled for a loss, but as it is, they almost got the first down.
So 2nd down and a yard. And the 2 backs in the backfield started this second half without the field position. Here, this is going to be McAfee in the backfield. He's going to be brought down by his face mask. If I had a flag, I'd throw it too.
Yeah, there's no question about that one. I mean, he was removed from his feet and twisted around about 90 degrees in midair.
But,
all by the face mask.
I laugh, but here, this is the 4th 15-yard penalty against the Pioneers in the game.
Yeah, but there's nothing you can say about that. That was a no-doubter right there. There was no judgment call about that. It happened.
It's just, why do it? Yeah, it's just, to me, it's just, all right, you can't make the tackle. Let somebody else make the tackle. It's not like he's the last line of defense.
Correct.
Just don't grab the face mask. The penalty takes it out to the Limestone 48, where it's 1st and 10 from there. Tusculum leading 13-7. Out of the gun is Noller. McAfee, heavy dose of him here on this drive, and he's got another few yards across the 50 down to the 49-yard line. The Coastal Carolina transfer, they get him 4 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6.
2nd and 6 as Limestone crosses midfield, trying to put themselves back up front in this game.
Luis will have to come off the field because his jersey is sideways. I'm sure that's not on purpose. Or I'm sure that's not accidental. I'm sure that was purposefully done. A lot letting go, and I'm surprised there hasn't been some illegal men downfield. Tusculum defensively can't figure it out. Now they do get set. 2nd down and 6 from the Pioneer 48. Noller play action pass was looking but covered up. Now he'll roll the pocket and being chased. Outside the pocket, downfield, it's broken up by John Smith, who had it hit him in the hands and dropped. And that was really good pressure that time by Brendan Nichols, a 6'3", 290-pound senior out of West Liberty, to bring up 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, bad break for the Pioneers. I thought they had the interception on that one.
Sure. Well, all right, so 2 balls have hit the ground. 3, really, let's just be honest. And then an interception that has hit our hands. We do have 2 picks in this game. One on a 4th down, which if we just drop, we have it at the 30.
Right.
And then the last one coming at the end of the first half in the end zone. So not turnovers that we have taken advantage of. That one, I think we could have taken advantage of. But it hits our hands in the worst. It hits the worst place, in our hands. 3rd down and 6. The snap to Noller. He's blitzed right up the middle. He's still being pressured. He gets away from 2. Trying to get outside, being chased by DeShaughters. He loses the football. Penalty is down. It's picked up by Russ at the 40, 30, 20, 10. He'll take it to the distance, to the house. Touchdown, Pioneers. Touchdown, Jihad Russ, returning it 45 yards for the score.
That ball was scooped out of the air and returned for the touchdown, but we'll wait to see what these penalty flags are going to be.
There is a flag down. I can't imagine it's anything to do other than, yeah, there can't be. It's a sack. There was nobody around. Deshauters leaves his feet, frees the ball, and it is loose, and there is no penalty that can be called because there is nobody else there except us.
Where you talk about these electrifying plays, that was certainly one. Quarterback was hit, the ball popped up and was just hanging in midair, and the Pioneers were able to scoop it and score without the ball ever touching the ground.
Joe, that is the 4th defensive touchdown this season. 2 against St. Aug's, 1 last week on a pick-6 by Trey Trawick. And now Jihad Russ gets his first career touchdown in a Pioneer uniform.
I think technically you can count the safety just earlier. That is a defensive score as well.
5 defensive scores for this Pioneer team at TU Turnover University, and the Pioneers will go for 2 again, with the Pioneers leading 19-7. It's a 16 unanswered stretch, and Corbin is going to keep it on the RPO, and he's going to get in on a surge of offensive linemen blocking him into the end zone. The 2-point conversion is converted. We go back to a break. What an explosive opening, 4 minutes and 3 seconds. With 10:57 left in the third, it's Tusculum 21 at Limestone 7. Pioneer football continues on the Pioneer Sports Network.
It's fine. It'll be okay, okay? Nobody cares about the flowers. Who needs flowers at a wedding?
At Ingalls, we know that the best of plans don't always go according to plan.
My best friend's getting married today and the florist never showed.
That's why we're always there when you need us.
What are their colors? Purple and cream.
With smiling faces and helping hands.
No one cares. No one cares. You will look great. Flowers are not important. And where is Holly? Have you anyone seen Holly?
And although life will be predictably unpredictable,
let's get you to that wedding.
A curveball is that much more satisfying.
I got the flowers!
When you knock it out of the park.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome!
So when the plan goes out the window and improvisation.
Deshauters hit on the blind side from the quarterback. Spear to kick it away. Low, far side, hits, dives, rolls, out of bounds. That's terrible. We have got to work on this aspect of this team. 35-yard line is where the ball will be spotted for Limestone.
You know, I don't like that rule where they do that. That's too many yards for the ball going out of bounds like that.
Should be a 5-yard penalty, 30, right?
Yeah, they basically legislated kickoff returns out of the sport of football.
Yes.
But whenever you do something that, okay, there's guaranteed to be no kickoff return if you kick it out of bounds, then you get just crazy penalized for it.
Let's say if the ball goes past the 20, if it goes past where it would be the 25, you get 5 yards tacked on from the 25. And wherever it goes out of bounds, prior to that, that's where you get it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's make a rule ourselves. 1st and 10 for Limestone. Snap is back for Noller out of the gun. A check down. Pass out of the backfield is complete to Jerkoya Patton. Breaks a tackle, gets hit from behind, and takes it up to the 40. Maybe the 41. He'll gain 6. It'll bring up 2nd down and 4. Jamar Hill helped out. I think that is Yusef Lee. It is.
You know, we talk about that kicking game. We haven't seen Eli Shepard on in a while. The math warrants the fact that they went for 2 on the last 2 to try to get points made up. So maybe that's why he wasn't kicking extra points. We've not seen him doing the kickoffs. But Eli is on the sideline over there, so.
He can kick off. We know he can put it in the end zone. Handoff. McAfee hit, drop by John Smith. Good run support from his free safety position for John Smith. It'll be a loss back to the 37, a loss of 4, and make it 3rd down and 8.
But my point being that I didn't know, well, maybe something perhaps happened to Eli Shepard. But if you'll look, he's over here getting ready to do a little kicking into the net. So he's not injured.
He may be kicking next. So 10 minutes to play in the third. Yeah, it's been exciting. You know, it's 18 unanswered, pardon me, for the Pioneers. Led by the safety to start this second half. 3rd down and 8. Noller, complete. Peeler breaks a tackle, has the 45, has the 1st down. Brought down by Jermaine Witherspoon up to the 48-yard line. Noller, a little sidearm Matthew Stafford-esque on the pass there, and it's 1st and 10 Saints.
Just a little swing into one of your receivers coming back inside, and they were able to pick up the first down.
Pioneers with 160 yards of offense. Yeah, that's it. 160. 1st down and 10 for Limestone. They're stuck on 129, of course, and moving. Noller to pass, under pressure, avoids the sack, throws it to the far sideline. That's complete. Penalty flag in the secondary. That's probably a hold on us, being Tusculum.
But I don't know what it would have been because there was honestly separation of 3 to 4 yards from the players.
There was not an offensive lineman downfield. It did not appear. I'm waiting for that to happen because I really thought that'd be a point of emphasis today with 2 non-point or offensive linemen downfield on touchdowns. It's holding. So a 10-yard penalty against the Pioneers. They're just killing us with penalties. Just absolutely killing us. 8 for 77 yards. So 1st down inside the Pioneer 45 at the 43-yard line. For Noller and this Limestone offense. McAfee is in the backfield. The lone setback. Tight end set to the right. Dukes. 3 wide out set. Handoff. McAfee took his time. Went outside. Penalty flag thrown as well. Finally, a hold right there on that offensive line. And this will break him up 10 yards.
Yeah, no doubt that was going to be a hold against the Limestone Saints.
So it'll be 1st down and 20 from the line of scrimmage. And back it into Limestone territory. We haven't been asking for it because, listen, you know, if we threw a holding penalty every down, this game would be boring. And you could throw a holding penalty every down.
But whenever someone's shirt collar is dragged over the edge of their shoulder pads, it's pretty obvious.
Something has to be called. You can grab them, I get it. But for crying, when you disrobe somebody, something's got to be thrown. 1st and 20. Noller to pass. Pass complete on the outside. That's a pick. 50, 45, 40, down to the 35-yard line. That's a big gain on 1st and 20 to Patton, and really it was all set up by an illegal pick downfield on Limestone. They got Tusculum on that in the first half. It's amazing they missed it there.
Yeah, unfortunately they did, and now Limestone setting up shop, 2nd down and about 2.
A gain of 18 on that play. And it's 8:20 to play here in the 3rd. Best drive of this second half for the Limestone Saints. They were shell-shocked to start this second half as the Pioneers come out. They just get a scoop and score moments ago. Really didn't scoop it, just picked it out of the air. Noller to pass, got a man open at the 20. 15-10, 5, end zone, touchdown. Limestone's Joshua Gary, the freshman out of Lugoff, South Carolina, and Limestone is on the board on the Noller 35-yard connection.
Limestone just passing its way down the field right there. Tusculum secondary going to have to go back and recalibrate what they're going to do next defensive series.
That's 2 wide open receivers on busts for touchdowns in this game for Limestone. So they scored the opening 3 minutes of the game, and they get their second score here in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. Baker to attempt the point, held by Kemp. Snap, hold, and kick. I don't think so. Oh, it is good.
Looked
it
like
was low.
Wide left.
Yeah, it did. Good deal. It's good. 8:03 to play in the 3rd. A new score as we go to break. Tusculum 21, Limestone 14. Pioneer football continues after this on the Pioneer Sports Network. 65 yards, 2:54 off of the clock. One offensive penalty and one defensive penalty on that drive. And Noller through the air, 3 for 3, 33 yards on that drive. So his second touchdown toss of the game puts him at 100 yards passing for the game and puts Limestone at 182 for the game. Tusculum at 160 yards for the game. So Kellum and the speedy Tyler Burke back deep for the Pioneers. Had been Derek Wright and Maurice Gamillion. So now we're going with the freshman back there. And Kemp to kick it away for Limestone. This one will be very high, angled far side for Burke. Burke drifting, fields it at the 5. Coming to the near side 10, 15, and maybe we'll lose a yard back to the 14. Never got the blocking set up. As a matter of fact, Limestone went right through Tusculum. Nobody blocked anybody. And so back deep, we'll start the Pioneers at the 14-yard line.
Yeah, Burke had a good run on it. And if he could have caught the corner, I think he would have had a pretty good return setting Tusculum up. Unfortunately, as you say, nobody blocked, and Limestone was able to drop him.
Trying to set up this near side return where the ball was kicked to the far side of the field. But if you're going to kick to the far side of the field and then do a near side return, you have to at least set up the wall, which means you have to slow somebody down. Corbin and the offense is out there for Tusculum. Jackson is back out. This pass is sent to Jarvis Jones on the left side. He'll cross the 15 and maybe get up to about the 16-yard line. One of the first people there and from the defensive backfield was Jeremiah Bogan out of Duncan, South Carolina. It brings up second down and about 6.
Jones had a little bit of help blocking there, but unfortunately one Pioneer can't block 3 Saints, so he didn't get quite the pickup that they had hoped for.
I did see that number wrong. That's my fault. It's Jackson Boone who made that catch for the Pioneers. So second down and 6 from the 17-yard line. Corbin play action. Looking. He's really got nobody. So he'll take off and get out of bounds at the 18. That's really good coverage by Limestone. Nobody was open. Will Sweeper, Jackson Boone, and the third receiver, Darian Anderson, there was just nowhere to go. So going to bring up third down after maybe a gain of a yard.
You know, the Pioneers really need to do something to get some better looks, because going into next week, Newberry is undoubtedly going to scout the heck out of this and realize that if they can just get good coverage, Corbin is going to tuck it and go, and then they can drop off and keep the offense kind of from going anywhere.
All right, so no gain. Third down and 6 from the 17 for the Pioneers. Corbin again out of the gun. Bunch set to the right, throwing right. This pass complete at the 20, and it needs one more yard. And I'm not sure they'll get that extra effort to the 23 they need. That is Jackson Boone. They're going to mark him down right at the 23. And that far side official is the word. He says, hey, let's move the chains, first down. Or are they going to? Yeah, they're saying first and 10. The coaching staff, Limestone, is contesting it.
For right now, let's get the ball set and run the play before anybody can change their minds.
I think it's a fortunate spot. 6.5 and counting. 21-14, Tusculum leads. Corbin out of the gun, new set of downs as the Pioneers convert on third down for the third time in the game. Limestone will show blitz, and they'll actually come. Right up the middle is going to be Jackson. He'll be brought down by his face mask, but there wasn't a good view of that except for us. And they're going to get the coaches. They do have the flag thrown on the far sideline for what would be sideline infraction, which is a warning, the first flag.
Second down, Pioneers. Sideline warning. I think Limestone.
There's a new rule out, Joe, and we talked about it. Coaches can't come out to the numbers. We have not seen a flag for that yet, and both of these coaching staffs, and last week's coaching staffs, were out at the numbers a couple of times. So we haven't seen the flag thrown for that yet. Second down and 7 at the 26 of Tusculum, moving left to right. Corbin to pass, steps up, and he's going to take off. Penalty flag is thrown. Corbin loses his helmet in the process up to the 29, but we're going to get our third holding penalty of the game. Trey Simmons will have to come in and take a snap as Corbin lost his headgear.
Still no indication yet, but as you say, it was in a position of holding for the Pioneers, but let's ask why Ivan Corbin lost his helmet. It didn't just pop off.
Holding, offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second.
Well, Schellenbach was the guilty party, so that was max protection. And Corbin still couldn't get the pass off. So trying to max protect for Corbin right now this season for him. And really, if you're an opposing team, let's just say this. If you're an opposing team, you may blitz every single down on Tusculum.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying. You know, you just keep putting pressure up there. Pioneers are kind of two-dimensional, but two-dimensional in one spot.
So here comes Trey Simmons. He saw one snap last week, played about the fourth quarter against St. Augustine's. 3 down linemen, and he's just going to take a direct snap right up the middle. Took a big pop as he crossed the 20 up to the 21-yard line. Took a hit from Kendrick Wright, graduate out of Marietta, Georgia. So Simmons on the keeper, and that was his one play. Ivan Corbin will be back into the game, and Simmons will go down. And again, he took helmet-to-helmet contact. And again, that's that rule where he is a runner, no question. But, I mean, he was popped with the crown of his helmet, by the crown of the helmet, right at the chin strap.
Yeah, he is certainly having some difficulty there on the ground.
So Coach Odom is out to check on him, along with the Tusculum training staff, led by Michael Hawkins, who's letting the hair grow out just a little bit. His side gig, outside of being one of the best trainers here at Tusculum, is a drummer in a band.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, he gets it done. We have the injury timeout. I want to thank Applebee's once again for their great support of Tusculum Athletics, and that's across the board. That's just about any event that's held here at Tusculum. Able to get some pregame meals, some food, thanks to John and all the folks out at Applebee's, Josh, all those guys, and, of course, our host site of the Pioneer Football Radio Show each and every Monday beginning at 7 o'clock. Appreciate them for providing our pregame meal before today's game, our pregame snack, I guess you could say.
Simmons did get up and walk off the field there. Had a little bit of help carrying his equipment, but he was able to walk off on his own.
Yeah, he took a big shot. And, again, it's a big illegal shot from my very tainted perspective. 5:05 left in the third. It's 3rd down and 10. The Pioneers lead 21-14. Coming off a Limestone touchdown scoring drive. Corbin to pass. Throwing to this near side. One hops Boone incomplete. Not enough arm to get there. Intended for Jackson Boone. And it will be 4th down and 10 from the 23-yard line.
Bad break for the Pioneers. That would have been the first down and then some. But as it is, we're seeing the punt unit come on again.
Again, Corbin had Boone. It was a great route. And I think when Boone came out of his route was just he picked up the ball a little late. If he takes one step towards the ball, he makes the catch for a 12-yard gain. As it is, 4th down. And Cantrell to punt it away. A 43-yard average in that first half, along a 55. And back deep will be Peeler, standing inside the 40 at the 38 of Limestone. Good snap. Cantrell gets away a high punt, short. And Peeler on the run makes a diving catch at the 47-yard line of Limestone, make it the 46. So a short kick that time by Cantrell. And it's 1st and 10 for the Saints.
Yeah, that could have very well spelled disaster for Limestone if he hadn't somehow managed to corral that football in, because once he touched it up, it would have been fair game.
So the Pioneers were down 7-3 at halftime. Limestone received the second half kickoff, and it was touched out of bounds at the 3, and that backed up Limestone. They got a big run, a couple of big runs, but then a bad snap. And Noller knocked it on through the end zone for a safety. The free kick was short. Burke with a big return. The Pioneers would eventually score a touchdown, go for 2. They would go 18 unanswered to lead 21-7. But Limestone answering on their last offensive series, have the ball back down 21-14. Noller empty backfield. Pass across the middle, wide open Peeler 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, and down to the 22-yard line. Just wide open across the middle. And the tackle is made in the secondary by Jonathan Lowe, the junior from Tucker, Georgia.
Well, we've seen this time again over the last couple of weeks. If the Pioneers have coverage, it's really good coverage, but it's kind of easy to get into the holes on them.
And they go quickly. Noller, quick pass. This is going to be complete inside the 10, down to the 5-yard line. And holding on to that one is DeMond Ellison, the senior from Canton, Georgia. And it's going to be first and goal at the 5, and there's an injured Saint as the Saints are marching. So the last two plays to open receivers, and Limestone feels as if they've got some big-time momentum going on right now. And Coach Odom, he's losing his mind because I don't think over the last 2 weeks he has given up this many explosion plays. The points, 48 points he gave up last week, that was unheard of. Their defense was the best in scoring defense through the spring and made life very difficult on other teams. But it has just not been that way this year.
Yeah, and like I said, it is the big plays where the teams are getting receivers into wide open territory. Don't know what they're doing to get there, and whether it's Tusculum's misreading. I don't think it's the Limestone or Schwann last week. They've got guys out athleting Tusculum to get into space. Right. I think it's just coverage is not what it needs to be.
And when that happens, Ivan Hogan's was your defensive leader. He was supposed to be back this year. All sites had him coming back, but he ended up moving on down the road to Western Carolina. You had Jackson Cawthon, who graduated and started his life. He's in learning to be a nurse anesthetist. You can't fault him for that, but you just had some guys I think you were counting on to be in that secondary. You got a bunch of young kids back there right now. But here it is, first and goal at the 5 for Limestone in a 21-14 game. Tusculum leading for the moment. Noller out of the gun. He'll roll the pocket to the right side. Back across the middle. The pass, I think, is caught at about the 2-yard line. And then the receiver just kind of sits down there. That's Ellison. And it'll bring up second and goal at the 2.
Ellison caught the football, and he was immediately swarmed by Pioneers, not even allowed to turn to get facing the end zone.
Inside of 4 minutes to play here in the third quarter. So the Saints back looking over to the sideline were absolutely demolished this past spring here at Pioneer Field. They watched the Pioneers rank up 519 passing yards, 666 total yards. Noller again under center, and the running back is Trey Stewart. 5 seconds on the play clock. Noller now set under center. Turns around, hands it off. Stewart up the middle. He's hit, and he is dropped just as he gets to the line of scrimmage. The defensive line hasn't been as active making some plays today. But right there's Ryan McIntyre from that bandit position to make the stop at the line. It's third and goal at the 2.
Yeah, you got to think this is really 2-down territory for Limestone. They're going to go for it on 3rd and 4th, so defense really needs to buckle up.
And it's actually a loss of a yard there on the play. So with the Pioneers leading 21-14, Limestone, after 2 big pass plays, make it down inside the Pioneer 5 to the 2. Now backed up to the 3 at the moment. Noller again under center. Jerkoya Patton is the running back. Noller hands it off to Patton, who walks into the end zone untouched. Touchdown Limestone. Jerkoya Patton touching pay dirt first time this season, and the Limestone Saints a point away from tying it.
Patton made his run up toward the line of scrimmage, took 1 step back into the inside, and as you say, wasn't even touched going across.
In his first game this season, last week Limestone did not get to play. St. Augustine's had to cancel out for COVID reasons. They lost to North Greenville in their opener, and Patton did not play. But he has been really good for Limestone. The point after is up, and we're tied. We go to a break, 2:36 to play in the third. A new score. It's now Tusculum 21, Limestone 21. Pioneer football continues after this on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most important,
And Austin Kemp set to kick this one away. Courtney Jackson. And we're still trying to figure it out on the return team. Trying to get some blocks. Tyler Burke is also back deep. The clouds have darkened. The skies have dimmed a bit. And this kick by Kemp will go 8 yards deep for a touchback. And the Pioneers will take over 1st and 10 at the 25. It's time for this offense to get the momentum right back.
That's what they absolutely have to do. You were up 2 scores, and now Limestone has come back and hit you for 2 and tied it up with a quarter and 2 minutes and 36 seconds remaining.
All right, 2 weeks in a row. Tusculum up 21-7 and 24-14 last week. So they go 18 unanswered, go up 21-7, and they've lost a 2-score lead. So here it is, Ivan Corbin, Maurice Gamillion in the backfield. Got to make some plays. Justice Parham is out to the left. Derek Wright, Tyler Agero to the near side. A quick hitter to the near side, Agero, trying to get the corner to the 30 with Derek Wright blocking for him. And that'll gain about 6 yards. So 2nd down and 4, not bad on 1st down with a tie game and under 2.5 to play in the 3rd.
Yeah, it's important to point out, too, last week and this week both, all of Tusculum scoring has not been scoring offense. The defense has been doing some of the scoring. So that just kind of shows you that the offense does need to figure out what it's got to need to do.
Yeah, the Pioneers may have the great scoring offense number, but defense is helping there greatly. Maurice Gamillion on 2nd down and 4 gets the handoff, finds some daylight across the 35, 40, and up to the 40-yard line. And that'll move the chains on a gain of 9 and an injured Saint on the play right at the point of contact. And that is going to be the headhunter himself, Kendrick Wright, who has had a great game here in this one, the graduate out of Marietta. And he is being tended to right now. Maurice Gamillion kind of hit him and lowered his shoulder right into his shoulder. And so an injury timeout here with 2:01. I think he's going to roll over. He's going to sit up anyway, just kind of get his bearings. He hit Trey Simmons right underneath the chin strap with the crown of his helmet. And he's got his helmet off, and he's walking away from the training staff.
Don't know if that's intentional or unintentional, whether he's walking away from them or he's veering away from them.
Yeah. He's a good player. Very physical, aggressive. So it's a 1st down and 10 for the Pioneers. We're tied at 21. 2:01 to play here in the 3rd. Next week, the Pioneers wrap up their 3-game homestand as we will host the Newberry Wolves, who was the only team to defeat Tusculum in the spring. It was the spring opener. It was an interesting game, as it always is at Newberry. We get the Wolves here at Pioneer Field next week. Corbin with the snap. Looking deep. He's got Parham, and that's twice was held. Yeah, that's a good call. Twice the jersey was pulled. Not once, but twice. And a flag comes in very late. And the ball was, yes, over his head. Whether you say it's uncatchable or not, Parham could have gotten there if his jersey wasn't tugged twice.
Yeah, that's the reason it was overthrown, is because he was held back.
Oh, my gosh, they're going to pick up the flag. There's no way. They can't do that. His jersey was tugged. It is a hold every single way.
Yeah, I mean, it's the new way type football jerseys are. Whenever you can see the jersey being stretched back.
That's awful. You threw the flag because you saw the jersey getting tugged. The guy can't get to the spot. Whether it's catchable or not, it's a hold. It's not pass interference. It's a hold. It is the right call. Stick to your guns. 2nd down and 10, rushing play, Courtney Jackson. 45, and out of bounds at the 48-yard line. A good gain on 2nd and 10 of 8. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2 for the Pioneers.
Yeah, the person who was looking at the play but didn't see it was the flag actually came in from the back judge who had the best view of that particular play, and then he gets overruled by the guy who wasn't paying attention. 3rd
down and 2. 1:05 to play here in the third. Jackson carry right up the middle, breaks a tackle 50, spins out of that one 45, and he'll take it. Did he lose the football? There is a scrum for it, and the Limestone Saints have it. Jackson's second fumble of the day, his third of the year, and coming out of that pile is Jaden Clayton, graduate out of Gaffney.
And it was a good play by the Pioneers. You got up, you're picking up the first down, you're turning your offense, and then today turnover you is going the wrong way.
Yeah, you cannot drop the football. Momentum every way, and now Limestone continues that momentum. They've scored the last 14 straight, and they have the football back, and now the defense have given them even more momentum. 58 seconds to play here in the third. Things seem really good for these Pioneers, up 21-7. Right now it's 21-21, and the Limestone offense back out on the field. Third turnover for Tusculum in the game. Knoller's going to hand it off. This will be Jerkoya Patton. He goes right up the middle for little to no gain. They'll say a yard. It'll bring up second down and 9. Nelson Luis was there, and Jamari Hill right in the middle. Jamari Hill is playing, I think, for Craig Watts, who I have not seen out there in a while, which is troubling as a guy that can just fly around and make plays. Our linebacking core has not made a bunch of plays today. And, of course, Raynell Killian injured and not a go for this game. Snap comes for Knoller, not ready for it, and then he just passes it out to Peeler, who is going to be then just killed at the 45 by Nelson Luis. And Knoller wasn't ready for the snap, and it came and hit him in the kneecap, and fortunate it was bouncing right there where he could pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad break for the Pioneers because they realized what was going on, and they were attacking the football. Unfortunately, the Saints were able to pick it up and pick up a little bit of yardage on this.
At the end of 3 quarters, Limestone has scored 14 unanswered. We go to a break with the final 15 when we come back. It's Tusculum 21, Limestone 21. Pioneer football continues from Pioneer Field after this on the Pioneer Sports Network. Very young defense out there. I don't even see Jermaine Witherspoon out there right now for the Pioneers. I see him over here on the sideline. I see Watts without a helmet. And so troubling times for this Pioneer defense right now. And a tight one, 21-21, third down and 8. Pioneers need to get off the field here. From the Limestone 45, Knoller empties the backfield. Here comes the pressure right up the middle. They're going to get Knoller in the backfield. He breaks 2 tackles. He breaks 3. And now he rolls the pocket and will be out of bounds at the line of scrimmage, hit by Jahad Russ. And it'll be fourth down and 8 coming up as Knoller took a big shot. He also took a big shot at the line of scrimmage, but the Pioneers just couldn't bring him down.
It's just amazing. The Pioneers were all over him, but the physical ability of that young man to break loose and try to do something for Limestone.
So Limestone, after turning away the Pioneers and picking up the third turnover of the game for Tusculum, unable to capitalize this time. So the punter, Kemp, is back out there with Cannon Hall standing at the 10. Pioneers are set on special teams, I think, eventually. So Kemp back to punt. Good snap. And the punt away is very high and short. Hall, long run, fields it on the run at the 25 and then takes it to the 27-yard line. Young man has no fear. And he makes that play, and on the stop, I think It was Cedric Smith. So it'll be a 1st and 10 for the Pioneers. We're tied at 21. They have the ball from their own 27.
Great credit there for Hall. He's trying to make something happen. He got a little bit of a return, but not much. But still, at least he wasn't just going to fair catch. He's going to try to make something happen for the Pioneers.
All right, so the Pioneers back out on offense. After a turnover and a promising drive there last time, they've mustered just 212 yards of offense. 119 yards through the air, 93 yards on the ground. Limestone has outgained them today, 238 yards. So 1st and 10 for Ivan Corbin and the offense. And this is going to be Corbin. He's going to keep it, break a tackle at the 30 to the 35. He holds on to it across the 35 to the 36-yard line, where he'll be brought down there by Jabez Taylor, and it's going to bring up a gain of 9, second and a yard.
You know, you don't necessarily like seeing your quarterback take that kind of punishment, but a great job by Corbin there to actually pick up and get a good downfield down here for the Pioneers on second.
Reggie Kellum is in the backfield, the freshman, with Ivan Corbin. 3 wideouts in the formation. Kellum right up the middle for the yard needed and maybe a yard and a half, as they were really trying to strip that ball from his possession. He'll move the chains, 1st and 10 for the Pioneers.
I'd like to have seen the Pioneers, whenever you had 2nd and 1 like that, take some sort of shot downfield to do something and not just pick up a yard and a half.
They had to stop and think about that. The ball was across the 37, it was closer to the 38, and the sticks. Anyway, I've had some issues today. 1st down, Tusculum. Near side is Justice Parham. Corbin, play action, looks his way. Pass complete, 45. Parham out of bounds near the 50 at the 49-yard line. Gain of 11. 1st and 10 for the Pioneers.
Another 1st down for the Pioneers. Good connection there between Corbin and Parham.
And really, Richard Jenkins or Marquise Farrell, or I should say it's Marquise Farrell, really read the play and thought that it was going to be a quick out. And if he's a step quicker, he's still running the other way. 1st and 10, Kellum on the handoff. Has some daylight, 50, 45, 40, inside the 40, down to the 39-yard line. Picks up 12, moves the chains. 1st and 10, Tusculum.
Once again, another 1st down. Pioneers actually getting some momentum. They've got to keep this going and don't do anything silly like we've seen them do before.
Running right behind Theobald, and a timeout asked for by Limestone here as they sense the Pioneer offense gaining some momentum, which they are. So that'll slow our momentum. We'll take a timeout as well and return here in 30 seconds. 12:17 to play in the football game. Tusculum and Limestone tied at 21.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Some lightning, and that's more or less in the mountains.
Yeah, the lightning has gone across the mountains. What was coming to our southwest, it's almost like it got up into the county and it just kind of doing an about face.
Yeah, just kind of, and that's typical here in the mountains of East Tennessee. Out of the Limestone timeout, Ivan Corbin and the Pioneer offense facing a 1st and 10 at the Limestone 39-yard line. Parham, along with Bryce Moore, lined up to the near side. Wright and Ajero to the far side. Kellum stays in the backfield with Corbin. Handoff to Kellum. Up the middle, breaks a tackle there. 40, 35, 30, inside the 30. And Kellum, the freshman, inside the 25-yard line. And the freshman showing out here in his 3rd game of his collegiate career. That'll be a gain of 14, 1st and 10 for the Pioneers.
Yeah, that's a situation where I would like to see the officials blow the whistle a little bit quicker, because it resulted in one of the Limestone players on the ground injured.
Got an injured Saint, injured on the play. Trayson Hallams, a freshman out of Clemens, South Carolina, from Daniel High School. Seen a lot of guys go down and take some time today, so we've had more stoppages. It's tough to gain momentum. And apparently he is okay and comes off the field, but both teams huddling on the sideline.
taking a look at the other scores, Brian, nothing has really changed. But as we said earlier, Catawba beat Barton 17-10. Mars Hill beat UVA Wise 44-9, and I guess there's nothing just listed as third quarter down in Carson Newman, but I would have thought they'd have restarted by now.
They're in the fourth now, 25-3 Wingate. Okay. Does that change from that score?
Well, I'm looking at d2football.com, and I guess they're just not on top of things.
Okay. Barton and Catawba, interesting. Chip Hester, the former coach at Catawba, is the head coach at Barton. And he comes back to his old stomping grounds at Catawba and puts on a pretty good show. But the Tribe picked 9th in the league this year. They're 3-0. 1st and 10 for the Pioneers. We're tied at 21 from the 25. A high snap. Corbin brings it down, ducks under a tackle as he takes it to the 21-yard line. We'll pick up 4 yards there, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 6.
Once things get going, once Catawba gets a hold of some of your top-ranked teams in the conference, which Tusculum is not getting any favors there because, look, whenever we're having to go play Newberry here at Wingate, at LR, the 3 best teams we're going to face perhaps all year are having to do them in a row. No favors for Tusculum when it comes to conference scheduling.
Yeah, no question. 2nd down and 6 for the Pioneers. Corbin looks back over to the sideline and readjusts. Agero and Wright to the far side. Kellum on the right shoulder of Corbin and Parham to this near side. Corbin hands it off to Kellum, ducks under another tackle, stays on his feet as he lunges for the 15, and they're going to give it to him. They'll give him that extra little bit of a lead. Oh, no, they are not. They're going to say it's only a gain of 5, so to bring up 3rd down less than a yard.
It looked like perhaps he got it because he started to go down, and he got a hand down and sort of sprung forward.
Yeah.
But I guess they thought maybe his knee hit whenever his hand went down as well.
Just say they didn't see it right then. Under 10 to play in the game. Pioneers driving, tied at 21. 3rd down less than a yard. Corbin out of the gun. Little quick pass outside. Agero complete. Agero at the 10. Agero stays on his feet, gets to the 5, and will go out of bounds for a 1st and goal just beyond, actually just shy of the 5-yard line.
Yeah, 1st and goal for the Pioneers. The ball somewhere between the 5 and the 6-yard line. Keep this momentum going and put it into the end zone.
So 1st and goal, Tusculum. Limestone had recovered here in this second half after being shell-shocked to start the half, leading 7-3 at halftime. Tusculum scored 18 unanswered, started by a safety, and then a fumble return for a touchdown in there. And then they came back and scored the last 14. Corbin lobbing it to the corner of the end zone is incomplete. Corbin takes a bit of a late hit. He delivered the pass, and I know it was all in the same play, but they carried on with the hit down to the ground. And the pass is fortunately incomplete, intended for Parham.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of a too quick a hitter there for the Pioneers. Corbin having to deliver it too quickly for Parham to get back in position.
So 2nd and goal, Tusculum has been very effective running the football to this point and to getting to this part of the field, if you will. Kellum has been very good. He stays on the left shoulder of Corbin. Back to pass. Looking, nowhere to go. Back of the end zone, incomplete. And the receiver went out of bounds, was the first to touch it. Are they going to throw the flag here? Yeah. So he was the first to touch it after he went out of the back of the end zone. Now, was he forced out is the question. I've been very suspect on the back end. Even though they're communicating and talking about it, I don't like the way they talk. Can we just move on?
The receiver, number 5, went out of bounds on his own, returned, and touched the ball. Penalty decline, brings up 3rd down.
All right, so it's 3rd down. They're going to decline the penalty. I think it would have been 5 yards, so it would have been 2nd and goal at the 10. So here it is, 3rd and goal from the 6. And 2 passing plays, and the running game has been very effective to this point.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw this actually last week too. Pioneers run the ball downfield and then get inside the 5 and decide to start passing rather than just pounding it in.
So Corbin out of the gun, Parham to the right. Field condensed here. Kellum is on the right shoulder of Corbin. Back to pass. Looking, rolling, lobbing it. Back of the end zone is going to be incomplete. Schellenbeck was being held. No flag on Agero, who was tackled before he could make that catch and that grab. And overall, according to the officials, good defense. And the kicking team will be out for the Pioneers.
And we will see Eli Shepard on for Tusculum.
So Shepard will check in and hoping to give the Pioneers the lead again. He has one field goal in the game of 34 yards. This attempt will be from 24 yards. Far hash, Curry to snap it, Cantrell to hold it. Snap, hold, kick is good. And the Pioneers reclaim the lead. 8:44 left in the game. With your new scores, we go to break. Tusculum 24 and Limestone 21. Pioneer football continues after this from Pioneer Field on the Pioneer Sports Network.
Get a full tank of freedom.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
That drive, and there definitely looked like one on that toss into the corner of the end zone. Kyvan Corbin now 14 of 26, 140 yards passing, a touchdown, a pick. And the Pioneers now at 279 yards of offense, and they have taken the lead 24-21.
But can it be enough?
Yeah, that's the
Will
question.
It be enough, I guess.
Defense must do its job. It will not be Shepard kicking off. It is going to be Spear who comes back out to kick it away for the Pioneers. And back deep to receive is Dinkins McCall, the redshirt freshman out of Sumter, South Carolina, the Georgia Southern University transfer. So Spear to kick it away with 8:44 left in this football game. This is a short kick. It bounces and it falls down at the 10, picked up at the 8, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and it down to the Pioneers' 43-yard line. No flags. 1st and 10 Limestone. There is a flag. It's on the very far sideline, and I saw. And the reason I said no flags is because when he opened to daylight, Richard Gravel was being tackled.
Right.
So it comes all the way back at the 32-yard line, and I was like, "Where's the flag?" And it's a late flag, but it is a right or a correct flag.
Good break for the Pioneers because, I mean, you retake the lead, time's running out here in this football game, and then you give up a kickoff return into your own territory. So.
The kickoff return, this was my key to victory today in the special teams. It had to be kick coverage, and it started with kicking the ball deep. And, yes, we have kicked it inside the 10, but the ball needs to really be inside the 5. Let's be honest. It'd be a lot better if we just kick it into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, especially if you're not going to get people down there to tackle folks now. In that particular situation, that was because there was a penalty flag. So.
Right. So for starting spot instead of the Pioneer 43 is the Limestone 22. 8:35 left. Tusculum by 3, and Limestone with a lot of momentum here in this last half of this second half. To be perfectly honest, they've done some really good things on offense, and a lot of that has just been some quick passes across the middle, and it's taken some guys out. Craig Watts is not out there now. I do see Jermaine Witherspoon back in the game, which is a big help for the Pioneers on defense. But this has to be the main help. Here's Kane to Shotters for a loss of 2. Back at the 20. McAfee nowhere to go, and it'll bring up 2nd down and 12.
good play there by the Pioneers to read that out and drop Limestone behind the line of scrimmage.
So McAfee, who's had a big game, 55 yards, a long of 17 today. It's been about it in the rushing game, but it's been the best part of their game till really here in this second half. Limestone's had passing plays of 31, of 35, of 18, of 14, so they've had some big plays in the passing game. Tusculum's biggest pass, the 32-yard touchdown to Parham. And a timeout's going to have to be asked for with the play clock inside of 5 seconds. That'll be enough to remind you about our Pioneer Football Show with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom this Monday from Applebee's here in Greenville. You know you're eating good in the neighborhood when you're at Applebee's, where you can enjoy appetizer specials from 3 to 7 and late nights. And I actually asked, what is considered late night? Because 3 to 7, like 7 o'clock would be late night for some folks, because that's well after supper.
Yep.
So they said 9 to close. So you got a couple of hours there where you don't get the appetizer specials, but if you go after 9, you get them. So that's good to know. And you can also order to go online and pick it up in the to-go waiting, applebeestogo.com. The Monday night Pioneer Football Show live at Applebee's, 7 o'clock back here on the Pioneer Sports Network, and our TV show as well, recorded on Tuesdays, available Tuesday afternoons for viewing on the Pioneer YouTube page.
Back earlier in the year, we were at a large family gathering and everybody eating together most meals, and my family was having supper at like 7 o'clock. I said, y'all got to quit eating in the middle of the night. I said, supper time, I'm starving to death. I need a snack so I can just get to supper.
You'd hate our household. Dinner at 8:30, 9:30 some nights. 7:49 to play in the game out of the Limestone timeout after the loss of 2. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Came to Shotters along with Jamichael Wilson on that stop right at the line of scrimmage. So it's third down, now 13. The ball back just shy of the 20-yard line. And the clock runs, 7.5 to play. Somehow I thought Limestone has called 2 timeouts here in this second half.
No, I don't think so. I think that was their first one.
Their first one? Okay. I guess they've had so many injuries that I thought they would have forced them to take a timeout at some point. But I guess not. So 7:10 to play. Noller out of the gun, third down and a long 12. Looking to pass, steps up in the pocket, delivers a good pass complete at the 40 and downed at the 40 by John Smith. And it was really good coverage, but a better job by Cedric Smith to break off the ball on a back shoulder pass, and it goes for 20 yards. First and 10 for Limestone.
And there again comes back to that problem we discussed earlier.
Get off the field.
You can't get off. If you can't get off the field, you're going to struggle to win football games.
Third down and 12 on a gain of 20. So the Pioneers, a new set of downs for Limestone, lead the game by 3. 2 backs in the backfield. McAfee vacates the backfield. This will be Noller rolling the pocket. He's going to be hit, stays on his feet as he takes it to the 44. Ryan McIntyre just hit him, didn't bring him down. And instead of tackling him, just hit him and tried to dislodge the ball. It gains 5. It's 2nd and 5.
Yeah, it could have been a tackle right at the line of scrimmage. All you needed to do was wrap up instead of just trying to be a battering ram.
So 2nd down 5 for Limestone. And Baker hit a 47-yard field goal against North Greenville. So he's got a leg with Limestone down 3. And right now that's what they're thinking. Just get there, and they're thinking more if this drive continues. Patton running it right up the middle. He'll lunge for that first down. He breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage and crosses midfield to the Pioneer 49, moves the chains, new set of downs, 1st and 10.
Kind of second play in a row. Didn't really see anybody attempting to tackle. It's just going in to hit and maybe try to blow up the ball or something like that instead of just focusing on stopping someone.
All right, so Limestone is on the move. Down 3, 5.5 to play in the football game. They'll put Terrence Walker on the right end. McAfee is back in the backfield with Jerkoya Patton. Out of the gun, Brian Turk says, hey, let's take this play. 10 seconds to get the snap off. Noller out of the gun. 2 wideouts to the far side. McAfee in motion to the far side. Noller steps up in the pocket, came to Shotters. This time is going to bring him down. Back at the Limestone 49-yard line. Came to Shotters, getting into the backfield, and it'll bring up a 2nd down and about 11.
A good stop there for the Pioneers actually to get in and wrap somebody up.
So 24-21 Tusculum. Clinging to this three-point lead. They had the ball first and goal at the 5 and settled for 3 after 3 incomplete passes. After they ran the ball very effectively but could not punch it in. Noller again from the gun, single setback this time. Noller with the snap, hands it off. This will be Patton trying to run it to the left side, and he got away from one Pioneer, but not the second or the third. Yusef Lee on that far sideline, and he got some help as well from Nelson Luis. Gain of 2, so it's 3rd down and 9. In another situation, you got to get off the field.
Yeah, and right now, Limestone, they look like they're trying to go fast. The line gets up and gets set, but then all your backs are stopped looking over to the sidelines. Of course, that's how they had that situation earlier in the game where the center just snapped the ball without anybody being ready for it.
Well, you also have to consider this is probably 2-down territory for Limestone as well.
At this point in the game, certainly.
3rd down and 9, 3:45 and counting. 2 timeouts for the Saints. Bunch pack to the right side of receivers. Low snap, Noller looking to pass. Under some pressure, avoids 1, avoids 2, throws it incomplete. Incomplete, and it's 4th down and 9. The pass intended for Patton. And so what does Limestone do? They will bring the punt team out with 2 timeouts and 3:36 on, but you got to be safe here. You got to go punt, return safe.
Yeah, and right here for Pioneers, absolutely just taking care of the football is your primary goal. Even if it's a fair catch, if it's just to get on the ground, do whatever you have to. Don't do anything silly and cough it up.
Hall back deep inside the 10. Kemp set to punt it away. If, in fact, it is a punt with 3:36 on the clock, snap is back, punt is away. High angled punt to the far sideline, out of bounds, and it will go out of bounds around the 15-yard line. All right, around the 18-yard line. So that's where the Pioneers will take over, but a nice job by Kemp doing his job. And the Pioneers effective on the last drive, running the football. But right now, Limestone has to suspect Tusculum is going to just run the football.
Well, that's what set the Pioneers up in business last time. Run the football and keep it secure and see if we can get out of here in the next 3.5 minutes.
All right, so one other final. Wingate has defeated Carson Newman 25-3. So Carson Newman, if I remember this correctly, has 3 points scored all year. Did they score in the first game? I can't remember.
I can't remember that.
So that's my fault. I don't remember. Well, I can go back and look.
One of the observations I've made here today, and I realize that so many of these football players for Tusculum are from Florida, but you've got guys down there wearing like headgear, face coverings, and it's not got anything to do with COVID because it's on their head. It's stuff like I probably wouldn't even wear in January.
Yeah.
They're not going to be happy at if they're cold today and it was 84 degrees, they're not going to be happy at Mars Hill in November.
No. No, they won't. So there's a 5-yard penalty for an illegal formation on Limestone on the punt. And so a 5-yard penalty takes it to the 23. Carson Newman did score 7 in their opening season loss. So 10 points on the year for the Eagles. 1st down and 10 for the Pioneers. Kellum stays in the backfield for Tusculum across the 25. It'll take it up to about the 28-yard line. So he'll gain 5 on 1st down. The clock will run. Limestone has 2 timeouts. And I think Tusculum needs 2 first downs on this drive.
And right now, don't snap the ball early. Whenever it's getting set, you've still got 27 seconds. No need to rush this thing.
Tusculum going to take as much time as they can inside of 20 seconds. Next week, the 3-game homestand comes to an end against the Newberry Wolves. And then a tough 2-game road swing at Wingate at LR. 2nd down and 5. Handoff, Kellum puts his foot in the ground, 30. 35-40, boys electric. Across the 40 and up to the 41-yard line. And it took a free safety tackle to stop a touchdown by Malachi Ray, and it's 1st and 10 Pioneers.
Great job by the Pioneers to keep the chains moving. Ball in the middle of the field. Once we restart, we're now under 2.5.
Corbin has thrown for 140 today. A pick, and it was marginal. It's tough to say it was his pick. And the touchdown Noller is 13 of 23 to this point, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. And those are tough to give to him as well. But that's the stat. 1st and 10 at the 41 for the Pioneers. Kellum gets the handoff again. He juggled it, breaks a tackle at the 41, and he'll go down about the 43-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8, and now Limestone will burn one of their 2 remaining timeouts after a very marginal gain on 1st down.
You know, you don't want to see anybody injured, but it actually kind of worked out right there. Limestone could have gotten an injury timeout. They've got a player down on the field, but they had already called their timeout. So.
Right. So their second. Ray, the injured Saint. Talked a little bit about Jerkoya Patton. Back-to-back 100-yard rushing performances against the Pioneers in his first 2 meetings. 2017 rookie campaign, he ran for 134 yards and 2 scores. He followed that with a 40-yard touchdown run on the first play of overtime and a 30-24 win against Tusculum. He ran for 100 yards on 13 carries in that game. He has rushed for just 40 yards combined since in the other 2 meetings. Today he has 34 yards in his first game this season for the all-conference running back, and a guy who could have been the best running back in our league, but he has been slowed with some injuries in his career. And he has the tying touchdown to made it 21-21. But this Pioneer defense has a lot more issues than just trying to slow down Jerkoya Patton. They've got some guys that are missing on that sideline that are going to be needed down the stretch in this season.
Starting next week against the Newberry Wolves.
2nd down and 8 for Tusculum. 1:54 left in the game. Tusculum by 3. Here's Kellum as he'll take it inside the 45, and he's on his feet, and the pile is moving him up near the 48-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd down and about 3 for the Pioneers.
And Limestone preserves its last time out as the clock continues to roll.
I think if they can get the stop here, they will burn that timeout. But 22 has been very effective. He's the game's leading rusher now. They look over on the sideline, 15 seconds on the play clock. Tusculum continues. They could snap it with 1 minute. They could also take a timeout. Tusculum has 2 timeouts remaining on this 3rd down play. Tusculum in the game, 5 of 13 on 3rd downs.
And that is what Coach Odom is going to do.
So Coach Odom with 1:04 will burn the team's 2nd timeout here of this 2nd half. In the opener of South Atlantic Conference play, the Pioneers playing Limestone for the 4th time to open up conference play. They're playing them for the 7th time overall. Tusculum 5-1, and the only loss in that first season for Coach Odom in that 2 overtime loss in a game in which Tusculum had 2 defensive scores in that one. Tusculum has 2 defensive scores in this one, a safety and a fumble return for a touchdown.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long since we've been going down to Gaffney and Limestone's coming here. Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. This is second game in a row for Limestone here. It's race weekend. They couldn't get hotels. They asked us to play this game at 3 o'clock so that they could make the trip all in one day, and then they ended up getting here about 11.
Yeah.
Maybe they forgot we moved the game for them. And then LR tells us they're moving the game at 1 and didn't really tell us. We just saw it on their site.
I like that. I'm for it.
3rd down and 3 out of the Pioneer timeout. They get the Saints to jump. No flag. Corbin is going to let it fly deep, and he's got Derek Wright out there. It hits off the helmet of the defender. There is a flag on that far side. I do see that. And it will be the 1st down. Corbin, who's got a cannon, throws it downfield, and it was broken up by Chris Williams off his helmet. They did get them to jump. That is the first best penalty for the Pioneers here in this game, if you will.
And that will move the football down on Limestone side of the field. We actually burned off, 7 seconds worth of time on that free play for Tusculum.
Right. So, really when you think about it, Limestone in this spring, they weren't full strength. Tusculum was flying on all cylinders in the spring, no question. Totally different team. So Limestone coming in here today, good showing. Noller would like to have a few more passes, better passes, I think. Limestone, who has one timeout left, can only stop it one more time with 57 seconds to play. Tusculum will go into the victory formation.
Yeah, Bryce Moore checking in, but he's not going to be a quarterback. He's a tight end.
Corbin takes the snap, takes a knee. And I don't even think Turk is going to, Coach Turk will take his timeouts.
It doesn't look like he's taking off his headgear as it comes right now.
All right, a Pioneer football team that battled. Down 7-3 at the half. They just weren't very much in sync through much of this game. They were able to find it to start the second half, getting some field position. They got the safety, made it 7-5. The great return by Tyler Burke. Got the touchdown and the touchdown toss to Parham of 32 yards. Then the scoop and score after the DeShotter's sack of Noller jarred the ball free, and the Pioneers were in business with a couple of two-point conversions. They were able to get up by a score of 21-7. Limestone came back and tied it at 21 before the Pioneers' Eli Shepard knocking home the 24-yard field goal to give the Pioneers the lead and ultimately the win. The Tusculum Pioneers knock off the Limestone Saints. Saints came walking in, but they'll go limping home after the 24-21 loss. We ask you to stay tuned for our Pioneer postgame report. We'll have a look at this week in Tusculum athletics. Joe Bird will have some statistics. I'll chat with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom, and that'll all be coming up here in our Pioneer postgame report. So stay tuned. Your final score, the Sons of Davy Crockett 24, the Limestone Saints 21. Thank you for listening to Pioneer Football. And now stay tuned for the Pioneer